Settle in, dear friend. Dim the light if you can and feel how the room softens when brightness eases. Let your shoulders find the shape of your chair or your pillow. Maybe you have a warm cup within reach, steam breathing into the quiet. Outside, the evening is unhurried. Inside, you are allowed to be unhurried too. Nothing urgent here. You've walked far enough for today. Before we go on, let me know where you're listening from. And if this brings you peace, please subscribe to Calm Buddha Path so more people can find it. Now let your jaw soften as if it remembers how to be light. Notice the gentle weight of your hands. If it feels right, rest one hand on your chest, the other on your belly, and sense the subtle rise and fall under your palms. You don't need to deepen the breath or manage it. Just let your breath lengthen on its own, like a river that finds its pace when the stones stop pushing. If the room is cool, draw a blanket around you and sense the tender animal of your body feeling warm, safe, and seen. This is your small sanctuary for the next while. Nothing to perform, only listening. Tonight we begin with a simple premise, one you may already know somewhere quietly inside. Your body is not a machine to be forced back to working order. It is a community of living wisdoms, each speaking in a subtle dialect, the language of pulse, temperature, quiet ache, spacious ease, the tug of fatigue that tries to lead you toward rest. Listening is the doorway. Listening is the medicine. The more you lean toward this language with curiosity and kindness, the more the body relaxes its guard and shows you what helps it heal. There is a kind of peace that arrives when you're done wrestling with what the body is not doing yet. Perhaps you have been carrying tension around recovery, a timeline that never goes fast enough. Perhaps a part of you has been scolding your muscles, your gut, your skin, your nervous system. Why are you like this? Hurry up, be normal again. That voice learned to be loud to protect you. Let's thank it for its effort and invite it to take a seat a few rows back. We'll let a gentler voice step forward, one that asks softer questions. What do you need in this hour? Where does it hurt? Where is there comfort already? How can I meet you as I am? Listening is simple, though not always easy. In the teachings, the habit that blocks listening often falls into three shapes: craving, aversion, and confusion. Craving says, I will only be okay when my body feels perfect. Aversion says, I reject this pain, I will ignore it and push through. Confusion says, I don't know what to do, so I will distract myself and hope it changes by itself. These moves are human, we all know them. But the inner conversation changes when we trade them for release, acceptance, and clear seeing. Release is the unclenching around outcomes. Acceptance is not resignation. It's the willingness to be honest about now. Clear seeing is the steady lamp that lets you tell a sensation from a story about the sensation. Tonight we will practice these three through the doorway of listening. Take a minute to notice the places that already feel okay. Not perfect, just okay. The pressure of the blanket on your shins, the warmth under your palms, the quiet room holding you without asking you to be different. This is where the body whispers yes. Sometimes we overlook that soft yes because the louder parts, the ache, the flutter, the tightness, insist on attention. But the nervous system loves evidence of safety. When you register one area of okay, you teach your system the world is not on fire right now. That lesson spreads like warmth from a cup into cold fingers. Let's try our first micro practice together. Hand on heart check in 45 seconds. Rest your hand where you feel your heartbeat most easily. If that feels uncomfortable, place your hand on your belly or forearm instead. Without trying to change anything, notice three gentle things: the beat or breath, the temperature of your skin, and the way the surface beneath you supports your weight. If it feels right, let your exhale slow a little. You can pause anytime if you need. This is listening without fixing. As you listen, you might notice the mind quickly evaluating. Is this working? Has anything changed yet? That's natural. Let the evaluating voice be one more sensation you can notice with interest. Imagine it like a neighbor who peeks over the fence and asks a lot of questions. You can smile and say, "I hear you," and return to your simple noticing. The practice doesn't need to feel special to be doing something good. Like seeds under soil, quiet work is still work. There is a story about the Buddha early in his path that we can borrow as a gentle guide. He had been practicing with great intensity, almost punishing his body, believing that force would bring awakening. Then he remembered a moment from childhood, sitting under a tree during a festival, feeling the ease of breath moving without effort. Later, a musician explained to him that a lute string too tight will snap, and too loose will not sing. Only the middle tension can make music. He realized his practice had been too tight. He let go of harm and fed his body again. That turning became part of the middle way. Your healing, too, becomes music when it is not too tight, not too loose. Not a schedule of iron, not a limp surrender. Listening shows you the middle. What would middle feel like tonight in your body? Perhaps it is choosing sleep earlier than the busy part of you prefers, but not scolding yourself if sleep doesn't arrive on command. Perhaps it is walking a small loop around your room before lying down, not because steps are virtuous, but because your legs might enjoy the gentle rhythm. Perhaps it's simply letting the breath come as it wants and not adding heroic effort. Let the middle way be friendly, plain, and forgiving. Another way to listen is by tracking small changes. If you scan your body like a sunrise slowly moving across a field, you may notice micro-shifts. A muscle unties itself, a temperature cools, the throat becomes less guarded. Give these shifts names if that helps. Sunlight in shoulder, river in chest, soft door in jaw. Language can be a bridge between inner feeling and caring attention. And if you find nothing is shifting right now, that is also information, not failure. The practice is not to produce a particular state. The practice is to keep company with yourself, kindly, through whatever state is here. Let's try another small practice. The listening walk in place, 60 seconds. If it feels right, stand up or remain seated and imagine walking at a leisurely pace. If you can, actually take a few gentle steps in your room. Notice the heel touch, then the ball of foot, then the toes. Feel the way your ankles and knees cooperate. If anything hurts, pause or sit and simply imagine the motion instead. While you move or imagine, silently repeat here now. You can stop whenever you like. Listening is not only for quiet moments. It follows you into mundane life like a patient friend. When you open the fridge and see leftovers, you can pause for 2 breaths and ask, "Does this help me feel steady tonight?" When you scroll through messages, you can notice your chest and jaw and ask, "Is this tightening or softening? What do I need next?" When you argue with someone you love, you can notice the heat rising and step back for 10 seconds to place a hand on your sternum, not to silence yourself, but to remember you have a body that wants safety too. The body's wisdom is practical, not mystical. It wants hydration, movement, rest, comfort, connection, and a little quiet. Listening makes those needs less abstract and more doable. Sometimes listening brings up grief. You might tune in and find a disappointed ache. Why did this illness happen? Why did my energy drop? Why isn't my body like it used to be? If that is present for you, it makes sense. Loss is woven into being alive. You do not need to solve grief tonight. You can sit with it as you would with a friend who needs company. If tears come, let them. If they don't, that is fine too. There is a compassion that comes from not trying to fix the river's direction. You stand on the bank, hold out your hand, and say, "I'm here." The nervous system hears that kindness and loosens its grip around pain. Let's meet the 3 frictions gently. When craving tries to speed us up, we can practice release. Release sounds like, "I am allowed to heal at the pace of nature, not at the pace of demand." When aversion flares, "No, not this, go away," we can practice acceptance. Acceptance is not liking the pain, it's refusing to abandon ourselves when pain visits. When confusion fogs our clarity, we can practice clear seeing. Clear seeing asks, "What is the honest next step I can take in the next 10 minutes?" Maybe a glass of water, maybe turning off one light, maybe writing a single sentence in a note that says, "I will ask for help with this." Listening supports all three moves. It shows you the exact shape of now so your kindness knows where to land. Here is a third micro practice to carry into tomorrow. Naming the kind next step, 30 to 60 seconds. Ask your body softly what would feel supportive in the next few minutes. Wait for a simple answer, not a grand plan. If you hear nothing, imagine three options: a sip of water, a stretch of fingers and toes, or closing your eyes for 5 breaths. Pick one if it feels right. If nothing feels right, simply rest. You can try again later. If you are lying down, let your limbs feel a bit heavier, like they are being gently held by the bed or couch. The floor or mattress rises to meet you. It is strong enough for you to soften. Sense the back of your head, the spread of your shoulders, the weight of your hips. If you notice a tight place asking for attention, try placing a warm hand there for a few breaths, as if you are listening through your skin. Many times the body's message is not "fix me now," but "please stay with me." Your attention is a balm, it is food, it is shelter. In the life of the Buddha, there are many scenes of everyday care that don't make the headlines. One simple image I love is of him washing a sick monk when others had passed by. He tended to the body with plain water and gentle hands, and afterward reminded the community that caring for the unwell is caring for the whole path. Whether or not this exact moment happened, the spirit of it carries. Recovery is not merely private. When you care for your body, you rejoin the human family of carers and receivers. You remember that your worth is not measured by output. It is measured by your aliveness and how kindly you hold it. You might wonder, if listening is so simple, why didn't I use it sooner? Be kind to that question. We are trained in noise. We are trained to dismiss the body as an obstacle to productivity, as a stubborn child to be managed. It takes time to unlearn that. Tonight you are unlearning by doing nothing extra, by giving your attention the same softness you might offer to a small animal that has been frightened. You do not rush toward it, you wait, you breathe, you let it smell the air of your presence. Eventually it settles closer. If at any point you feel too stirred or overwhelmed, you can always return to the simplest anchor: contact and breath. Feel the points where your body meets the surface beneath you. Count 3 easy breaths, not deeper, just counted. If it helps, whisper to yourself, "Safe enough for now." If it does not help, let the words go and remain with sensation only. You are always allowed to pause this and come back later. The path is not a race. There is a rewrite we are making quietly beneath the words here. Many of us carry an inner monologue that treats the body as a problem. We are replacing it with a friendlier narrator, one that speaks with steady warmth. It might say things like, "Thank you for carrying me today. I noticed the effort you made. I am here with you while we rest." This is not positive thinking, this is accurate thinking. The body does carry you. It does labor. It deserves to be addressed with the dignity you would offer any tireless companion. If you feel yourself growing sleepier, that is welcome. Let your exhale grow lazy at the edges. If you are still awake, that is welcome too. Not sleeping is not a failure of the practice. You may simply be in a phase of learning how to listen, and sometimes the mind needs a little more time before it unclenches. If the mind brings you worries, try placing them on the shelf of later. Imagine a ledge near your bedside, strong enough to hold a few stones. Put each worry stone there for now. You can pick them up in the morning if needed. For this hour, you are allowed to care for the simple garden of your sensations. When you wake tomorrow, you can carry this listening with you into one ordinary act. As you wash a cup, notice the temperature, the texture of ceramic, the curve of your fingers. As you step through a doorway, feel the shift in air. As you greet a person, notice the muscles around your eyes and how they soften. This is how daily life becomes part of recovery, not by adding more to-do items, but by letting each action hum with presence, like a string tuned just right. Before we close this first part, offer yourself a blessing that doesn't argue with reality. Something like, may I be gentle with myself as I heal. May I trust small steps. May I listen to the wisdom that is already here. If the word blessing feels too heavy, call it a kind wish. If any of those words felt off, create your own. Let it be yours. Now let your breath become unremarkable again. Let the room remain soft. The body knows the way, and your listening opens the path a little wider. We will continue tomorrow with more ways to hear what the body asks for and how to respond with steadiness and care. For now, rest inside the feeling that you kept yourself company. That counts. That is enough for tonight. The room is quiet again, with a low hush like distant rain behind glass. If you draw your attention toward the window, even if there is no rain where you are, imagine that soft, even rhythm. Let it set the tempo of your evening. The light is gentler now, or perhaps you've let the lamp pool in one corner while the rest of the space grows dim. Your body recognizes dimness as permission. Your breath doesn't need coaching, it only needs room. Feel the way your ribs rise a little, then fall, as if they have been doing this all along without the mind needing to manage a thing. You are here to continue a conversation with your body, not to extract a result from it. Last time we started with kindness and the middle way. Tonight we move a little closer to the mechanics of listening, how it becomes practical for the hours when life is messy. Listening, when it's alive, becomes a simple loop. Notice, name, nourish. You notice sensation or mood. You name it in plain speech so your caring mind can hold it. You nourish it with one small act that doesn't produce strain. Then you start again when the next wave arrives. You do not do this perfectly. You do it like weather passing through an open field. If it feels helpful, place a hand on your lower ribs and feel the spread and return while you breathe. Not bigger, just noticed. Imagine your inhale as a soft lantern brightening the space beneath your hand, and your exhale as the light spilling outward into the room. If that image doesn't land, release it and simply sense the way air moves. The body is allowed to be plain. Sometimes the hardest part of listening is that we expect profound messages, but what comes is ordinary. Hungry, tired, wanting to be warm, wanting to be left alone for a few minutes. The ego, when it's anxious or striving, keeps reaching for a dramatic cure, but the body prefers small courtesies done consistently. You are building that trust tonight, the kind built in kitchens and hallways and quiet edges of beds, not in grand proclamations. We will practice those courtesies and how to recognize when craving, aversion, and confusion try to hijack them. Let's begin by visiting the mouth of the stream, the breath, and let it set the tone for the rest of the evening. Not as a performance, but as a companion that you keep company with. Soft edges breathing, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, lightly rest the tip of your tongue just behind your front teeth and let your jaw ungrip. Let the breath come through the nose if comfortable, and imagine a circle at the edge of each nostril, like two small doors. Feel air brush those doors on the way in and out. If your mind wanders, let it. You can pause anytime or open your mouth if your nose feels stuffy. All you are doing is saying hello to the gentlest part of breathing. When people hear "listen to the body," they often think they must retreat from life, become a monk in a cave, or pile on hours of practice. The truth is kinder. Listening slips between the ordinary tasks you already do. When you answer a message, notice your shoulders inching toward your ears and let them drop half an inch. When you pour water, hear the sound and call it by its name, pouring, as if your attention is a friend standing at the sink with you. When you climb into your bed or onto your couch, feel the moment your weight transfers and the surface takes you. These are not special effects. They are ways the nervous system recognizes, I am safe enough right now to stop bracing. Let's bring this into an everyday scene that often steals our clarity screens. You pick up your phone or open your laptop. The feed scrolls past. Unseen muscles try to keep pace with the river of novelty. The eyes strain, the neck leans unconsciously forward, the breath flattens. This is not a moral issue, it's a physiology issue. Your body is trying to read a lot of information quickly. It will do what you ask of it, sometimes to its own detriment. Listening here might sound like softer light, slower scroll, blink, exhale. It might look like placing the device down for 30 seconds without scolding yourself, then returning with intention. Practiced enough, this becomes your new normal, using a tool without letting it use your nervous system. Try a small micro-practice with that in mind. Blink and balance, pause 30 seconds. If it feels right, close your eyes for 2 slow breaths. Let the tiny muscles around your eyes relax. You can even imagine the skin there widening a little. Then open your eyes and let them refocus gently on something about an arm's length away, not the nearest glowing screen. If it helps, rub your hands together once and feel the warmth. You can stop anytime. This is a tiny reset that asks nothing heroic from you. You may wonder whether all these small moves add up. They do, because your system calibrates safety from patterns, not from single moments. Think of the way a garden changes from daily watering and occasional pruning. There is no one magic pour that makes the flowers bloom. There is the care of showing up. In this way, listening is less about finding a secret signal and more about tending consistency. The body, noticed and named and nourished, gradually lowers its alarms and remembers the routines of rest and repair. There is an old teaching sometimes called the 2 arrows. The first arrow is the pain that arrives uninvited, a flare in your back, a wave of fatigue, a grief that tightens your throat. The second arrow is what we add on top, the story that says this shouldn't be happening, the self-blame, the dread that imagines tomorrow will be worse because today is hard. We cannot always avoid the first arrow, but we can learn to put down the second. Listening is the hand that catches that second arrow before it lands. It notices this hurts and it refrains from the extra strike. In everyday terms, if your knee complains as you stand, you can say, "Knee is loud tonight," and choose a chair with more support. You don't have to add, "My body betrays me, I'm failing." That second arrow is optional, even when the first arrow is not. A moment here to acknowledge resistance. Some parts of you may say, "If I stop pushing, I will never get better." That is craving's secret costume. It pretends to be discipline. Discipline has its place, but in a healing season, discipline's best friend is gentleness. Together, they are steady and wise. Without gentleness, discipline becomes punishment. Without discipline, gentleness becomes drifting. You are practicing the marriage of both. You show up. You are kind. You keep showing up. You are kind again. Repeat like rain. Let's fold in nourishment through the simple act of water. Sip, scan 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, take a slow sip of water or imagine the sip if you don't have any nearby. Feel the cool or warm path down your throat. After the sip, pause and scan your mouth, jaw, neck, and collarbones. Notice any small softening. If there's none, that is information too. You can pause anytime. The point is not to fabricate sensation, but to honor what is present. Drinking water seems trivial, but in the language of the body, it's a hello that lands. Your tissues hear it. Your gut hears it. Even your mind, often carried by dry, quick thoughts, relaxes its edges. You can add tiny meaning to such acts by using simple phrases. When you sip, you might think, "I am offering help." When you adjust a pillow, you might think, "I am reducing effort." When you step outside for 2 minutes of night air, you might think, "I am letting the world hold me." These phrases are modest. They are not spells. They just nudge your inner narrator toward truth instead of criticism. Another place listening becomes medicine is in transitions. The body feels changes most acutely at thresholds. Getting out of a chair, stepping through a doorway, turning off a light, ending a conversation, lying down. These are smaller than accomplishments, but they are exactly where stress accumulates or melts. You can treat thresholds like bells of mindfulness, not to force holiness into the moment, but to give your nervous system a reliable cue. When the light goes off, shoulders down. When the door opens, slower pace. When the bed meets your spine, let the belly soften 1 degree. Accumulated over a day, these degrees change weather. Threshold softening 20 to 40 seconds. Pick a nearby threshold. It could be as simple as setting your device face down, standing and sitting once, or turning your head toward the window. As you cross that small boundary, intentionally relax one area by just 5%: jaw, shoulders, forehead, belly. If 5% is too vague, imagine the difference between a tight fist and a hand resting around a cup. Somewhere in between, pause. You can stop anytime. Listening also includes hearing when the body says no. When you are offered a plan, a social event, a second helping, a late-night episode, you can consult your belly and chest. They often answer before language does. No is not an attack on life. It is a gate that protects your energy for the places that matter. A quiet no now may be what makes a wholehearted yes possible later. If you have been taught to ignore your no, reclaiming it will feel strange at first. Practice with small things. Say no to the cold chair and choose a warm one. Say no to the harsh light and choose a softer lamp. Say no to the extra scroll and choose the margin of rest. These are not luxuries, they are acts of alignment. You might encounter confusion here. If everything becomes a question, this, not this, won't you get stuck? That's where clear seeing helps. Clear seeing is not a spreadsheet. It is the felt sense of what is actually happening plus the simplest next step. If your mind begins to whirl, you can ask 2 questions. What am I feeling in the body right now? What is one supportive action that costs very little? Then do that and stop. When that step finishes, ask again. In this way, you get relief from the pressure to plan your whole recovery and instead live inside the next 10 minutes, where your influence is real. Because recovery can feel lonely, I want to offer a small image from the life around the Buddha that you might carry. There is a scene described in many ways where he sits quietly while a person pours out their frustration and sorrow. He doesn't rush to correct, advise, or fix. He simply remains present, steady, available. Over time, the other person's voice slows. Their breath deepens. They hear themselves with new ears. Whether or not you picture a particular figure, you can borrow this posture for yourself. Be the steady witness to your own pain, not its editor. In that steadiness, the nervous system senses companionship and loosens its need to shout. Let's bring care to the bed or couch where you might be resting. Nest building 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, adjust one thing in your physical environment that would make rest easier. It could be folding the edge of a blanket to support your lower back, placing a pillow under your knees, dimming a light, or cracking a window to invite gentle air. Do just one adjustment. Then pause and feel the change. If nothing helps, simply place a hand on your chest and acknowledge the attempt. You can stop anytime. There is a tenderness that grows when you treat your body as someone you love. Imagine how you would care for a friend recovering in your home. You'd offer water without fuss. You'd make the space comfortable. You'd speak in a tone that doesn't demand. You'd respect their limits and celebrate their small victories. You deserve the same tone. You can become your own steady caregiver, not to isolate yourself from others, but to create a base of kindness from which asking for help becomes easier. Since we're speaking of help, listening often reveals where we need other humans. You might notice as you scan your day that your body tightens every time you think about a certain unresolved task. The task itself may be simple, but it sits on your nervous system like a heavy coat. The kind action could be sending a brief message asking for support or clarity. Not a full essay, just a sentence. Could you help me decide this? Can we pick a smaller version? I need a slower pace. Asking becomes much less frightening when you understand it as a bodily need for lighter load, not a moral failure. Because nights can echo with what-ifs. Let's practice a micro skill for tending worry without letting it bloom into a second arrow. Shelf of later, again, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, picture a small, simple shelf near you. Place one worry on it by silently naming it in 5 words or less. Then feel the back of your body, the head, the shoulder blades, the hips resting where they are. On your next exhale, imagine the shelf holding the worry so you don't have to. You can pick it up tomorrow. Stop anytime if visualization feels unhelpful. As you grow familiar with listening, you may discover a paradox. The more care you offer, the more sensations you notice. That doesn't mean things are worse. It means the volume of awareness has been turned up. When a musician first learns to listen deeply, they notice dissonance they missed before. With time, that hearing lets them tune better. You are doing the same. The skill is to notice without dramatizing. Pain, warmth, pressure, tingling, softness, fatigue, ease, each note can be heard, named, and then held in the larger room of your presence. Here is another everyday place to practice: eating. Choose one meal, maybe not the most convenient, and let it be slower by just 2 minutes. Listening during a meal doesn't require rules or measurements. It asks you to attend to the first bite, to pause when the body sighs, to stop when comfort arrives even if the plate isn't empty. Craving will sometimes say more is better. Aversion will sometimes say food is the enemy. Clear seeing says this tastes like this. This bite feels supportive. This is enough for now. Over time, your body learns that nourishment is not a negotiation. It is a relationship. Small plate pause, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine lifting a bite to your mouth. Before you taste, notice the color and shape. Then take the bite and follow the texture and temperature for a few seconds. After swallowing, wait for one natural breath before the next bite. If visualization isn't helpful, simply place your hand on your belly and imagine the feeling of enough. You can stop anytime. Before we close tonight, let's revisit the 3 frictions in a way you can carry into tomorrow. Craving will likely show up as a tense plan for how fast you should heal. When you catch it, practice release by softening the timeline and choosing one kind action instead. Aversion will likely show up as impatience with discomfort. When you catch it, practice acceptance by naming the sensation plainly and adjusting your position to support it, even slightly. Confusion will likely show up as too many options, too much information, too many voices. When you catch it, practice clear seeing by asking, what is the helpful step in the next 10 minutes, and taking only that step. Then rest. Let your attention widen now. Hear the room, feel the contact under you, sense the weight of your eyelids. If you are inclined towards sleep, give it a larger welcome. If sleep is distant, no argument is needed. You can rest even when waking. You can be held by the present even when the mind wanders. Offer yourself a simple kindness. You did enough tonight. The body hears that and relaxes a little more. At the end of this part, place one hand somewhere that feels neutral and another where there is either comfort or ache. Imagine the neutral hand is the steady witness and the other is the part asking for care. Let them stay like that for 3 easy breaths. The conversation doesn't need words. You have listened. That is your medicine for now. There is a small sound in the room, maybe the hush of a fan turning its gentle circle, maybe the faint rustle of evening air slipping through a window that is cracked open. Let that sound be the backdrop, like a soft drum at the back of a procession, steady and quiet. The light can be low again, gathered near one chair or at the edge of your bed. Feel the way dimness invites your body to lean back from the day. Your breath knows how to move here. You do not have to coax it. Simply notice the tide of it touching the shoreline of your ribs and retreating again, easy and unforced. Tonight we continue the art of listening by exploring rhythm. Your body loves rhythm more than it loves rules. It heals in pulses, not in straight lines. It asks for effort, then rest, attention then soft focus, movement then stillness. If there is a place you have been scolding yourself for not recovering quickly enough, for needing more breaks than you wish, we will give that place some dignity. Rhythm is not weakness. Rhythm is the way life expresses intelligence. Waves do not apologize for receding. Hearts do not apologize for their pauses between beats. You are allowed to live and heal by pulse. If it feels right, place one palm over your lower belly and one over your upper chest, and sense the subtle difference in how each area moves when you breathe. Not deeper, just noticed. Maybe the belly widens a little first, or maybe the chest lifts before the belly joins. There is no wrong choreography. You are not correcting. You are greeting what is already true in this moment. Let's name the rhythm we will practice, gentle pendulum. Imagine you are standing between two friendly trees. One tree is effort, the other is ease. You will sway between them in small arcs. When you touch effort, you do so with kindness and for a short while. When you touch ease, you let it be real and not imaginary. Over time, your nervous system learns that challenge is safe when it is bracketed by care. This is different from pushing until collapse and calling that discipline. This is different from avoiding everything difficult and calling that healing. The pendulum is the middle way, alive in your day-to-day life. Before we lay out how this looks, we'll start with a tiny practice to feel the sway. Sway between trees 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, sit or stand and let your body move a few millimeters forward on the inhale, then a few millimeters back on the exhale. The movement can be almost invisible. If moving isn't comfortable, simply imagine the sway. While you do this, silently name the forward tilt, meeting, and the return, softening. You can pause anytime. The point is not to produce a sensation, but to feel the idea of rhythm in your body. The three frictions we've met: craving, aversion, confusion, tend to dislike rhythm because rhythm cannot be captured in a single rule. Craving wants a straight road to tomorrow's perfection. Aversion wants to skip all discomfort and jump to the end. Confusion wants to keep you stuck at the trailhead, overthinking the best route. The pendulum answers all three with patient practice. We don't need a perfect plan, we need the next swing. We don't need to avoid discomfort. We hold it for a short, humane interval. We don't need to solve every variable. We set a simple timer, we do a little, then we rest. Let's make it concrete in the place where many days rise and fall. Chores, dishes, laundry, tidying, the little acts that keep life livable. If these have felt like opponents, we will reintroduce them as partners in rhythm. 2 cups and a pause. Imagine the sink. Rather than power through the stack of plates, you choose 2 cups. You wash only those, letting your hands notice temperature, the slide of soap, the small squeak of clean ceramic beneath your fingers. Then you stop. You dry your hands, sit down for 90 seconds and feel the body's response. Maybe it says that was enough for now. Maybe it says 1 more cup. The pendulum is not about heroics, it's about trust. You do a little, you listen, you rest. You decide from the body's answer, not from a scolding voice. Rhythm also helps with work that pulls you towards screens or mental effort. Many of us forget that thinking is a physical act. It uses fuel, posture, tiny eye muscles, neck stability, the play of chemicals that narrate stress or calm. Bring the pendulum here gently. Page and window. Choose 1 page of reading, 1 email to write, 1 form to fill. Before you begin, turn your head slowly to look at a real-world object outside a window or across the room. Name its color and shape. Then do the single page or single email. When you finish, turn away from the screen again and let your eyes rest on something soft, like a curtain or a plant. Blink slowly and let your shoulders lower by 5%. Then ask your body 1 more or rest now. Trust the answer you receive, even if it surprises you. It may help to add simple language to the rhythm so your inner narrator stays kind. When you begin effort, you might say, beginning. When you notice strain, you might say halfway breathe. When you stop for ease, you might say returning. These words are not magic, they are coordination. They let your mind, body, and attention work as teammates rather than critics. There is a story from the Buddha's time that many people know in pieces, the one about the mustard seed. A mother named Kisa Gautami lost her child and, broken with grief, carried the small body through the town pleading for medicine to bring him back. She was sent to the Buddha, who told her he would make a remedy if she brought a mustard seed from a household that had never known death. She went door to door, and every door had a story, a parent, a sister, a friend, a neighbor, and none could offer the seed. At last the truth landed in her, not as a philosophy but as lived knowledge. Suffering is shared. In that recognition, her grief didn't vanish, but it became linked to a wider river. She set the body down and began to heal the living. We do not tell this to scold grief into silence or to claim that your pain is small. We tell it to offer rhythm to grief. The first pendulum swing is toward your own heart, toward the immediate ache. The next swing is toward the larger village of humans who have known aches like yours. You don't have to visit 1,000 doors. It is enough to remember that many roofs shelter pain and love together. This remembrance takes the edge off isolation, which is often the heaviest part to carry. Listening in this context means letting your pain be personal, then letting it be communal, and repeating back and forth until the nervous system finds it can breathe again. Because the body speaks in small, reliable signals, we will practice recognizing two categories that often get blurred: strain and growth. Strain is the body's way of saying the arc toward effort has gone too far or too fast. Growth is the body's way of saying, this is new but safe enough. Listening lets you distinguish the two without drama. Strain tightens the breath, hardens the jaw, narrows attention like a tunnel, and makes kindness feel expensive. Growth may include effort and even some discomfort, but it keeps the breath available, the face soft, the attention wide enough to include the room, and a thread of friendliness intact. Let's try a tiny assessment practice you can use anywhere. Green light or yellow light, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, scan your jaw, shoulders, and belly. Are they clenched, held, or soft enough? Notice your breath at the rim of your nostrils or the rise of your belly. Is it accessible or hiding? Without needing to change anything, label this moment green light if softness is present, yellow light if there is some tightness, and red light if you feel overwhelmed. If it's yellow or red, consider stepping one notch toward ease, less light, slower pace, kinder tone. You can stop anytime. The labels are placeholders, not judgments. Now bring rhythm into the way you move, even if moving is small. Some bodies will want a gentle stretch, others will prefer a subtle repositioning, still others will choose imaginative motion, and that counts. The pendulum can be minutes or millimeters. Step and settle 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right and safe, stand and take 4 slow steps, noticing heel, ball, toe. After the 4th step, stop and let your knees bend a little as if you are sitting into a tall stool. Feel your feet widen into the floor for 1 breath. Then either take 4 more steps or sit down. If standing is not comfortable, imagine the 4 steps and then physically adjust your position by 1-inch tilt, lean cushion. You can pause anytime. The practice is the rhythm, not the result. You may find that guilt tries to accompany you when you rest. It says, others do more, you should keep going, this is laziness. Let's answer guilt with the clarity of rhythm. In music, rests are part of the song. If you remove them, the song becomes noise. Your rest is not a failure of character. It is a necessary shape in the phrase of your day. Listening to the need for rest is not the same as surrendering to inertia. Inertia pretends to keep you safe by never beginning. Listening invites you to begin gently and stop in time. Because evenings can stir self-criticism, We'll practice a skill that meets that voice with steadiness. Gentle reframe in place, 30 to 45 seconds. Think of one thing today you did in a smaller way than you wished. Notice the instant judgment forming. If it feels right, replace the judgment with a factual description, then add a kind intention. For example, I washed 2 cups, I wanted to wash 10. I chose rhythm to protect my body. Or, I answered 1 message, I wanted to clear the inbox. I chose clarity over speed for tonight. You can stop anytime. The goal is not to convince yourself you love limits, but to respect the wisdom behind them. Rhythm also applies to relationships. Listening to your body does not mean ignoring people you care about. It means showing up in ways you can sustain. If conversations at night tend to stir you, set a gentle boundary around timing. If certain topics spike your heart rate, you can ask for a pause without making an enemy of the person you love. You are allowed to say, "Can we talk about this tomorrow when I have more capacity?" And then keep that promise with a small check in the next day. The pendulum here is contact, then replenishment, then contact again. Because the mind loves to tangle healing with identity, I'm the one who pushes through, or I'm the one who never finishes, we will keep loosening those knots. You are not your strategies. They were simply the best tools you had at the time. Now you are adding new tools. Identity can be held more lightly when rhythm becomes reliable. Even your inner critic softens when it sees you keep small promises. 2 cups and a pause, 1 page and a window, 4 steps and a settle. These small fulfillments re-educate the part of you that expects either all or nothing. Let's bring the pendulum to rest and sleep. Sleep is famously allergic to force, but it is responsive to rhythm. Instead of aiming for a single perfect bedtime ritual, choose 1 small action before bed and 1 small action after lying down. Repeat them for a handful of nights, then evaluate from the body's feedback, not from an anxious clock. Doorway and downbeat, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, pick a doorway you pass before bed. Each night when you cross it, let your exhale lengthen by a tiny margin and lower your gaze for 2 breaths. That is the first swing. After you lie down, choose 1 downbeat, for example. Place a warm hand on your chest for 3 breaths or gently relax your tongue from the roof of your mouth. That is the second swing. If this feels unhelpful, release it and choose different anchors. You can stop anytime. The aim is a repeatable rhythm that your nervous system recognizes as permission. There will be nights when nothing seems to work. Listening then becomes humble and fierce in the best way. You do not blame the body for being awake. You keep it company as you would a child who cannot sleep. You may sit up and drink a small glass of water. You may read 2 pages of a steady book with no sharp edges. You may look at the dim outline of the room and name shapes. You may place 1 cool hand on your forehead and think, "I am here." The pendulum slows, but it does not stop. Even in wakefulness, you are practicing the art that rewrites your days. Since rhythm is seasonal, you might notice weeks where your body asks for more ease than effort. That is not regression. Trees have seasons of rich foliage and seasons where branches are bare. The life of the tree is not judged by the number of leaves today. Your worth is not measured by how many tasks you cross off when your body is rebuilding. At the same time, there will be weeks where effort feels sweet again, where appetite returns, where you find yourself humming while you wash more than 2 cups. Welcome that without fear that it will vanish. And if it does change, because bodies and weather and life do, welcome the change without betraying yourself with stories of failure. Let's add a practice for days when you meet a wall and feel stuck between wanting to do and not wanting to hurt yourself. 5 breath contract, 30 to 60 seconds. Choose 1 small action you are considering. Make a gentle contract with yourself. I will try this for 5 easy breaths, then I will reassess. Begin counting the breaths without deepening, just noticing. At the 5th exhale, pause, ask the body more or stop. Either answer is success. You can pause anytime. The practice is not about productivity, it's about trust and communication. As rhythm settles in, you may start to feel a new relationship with time. Healing time is not clock time. A minute of true rest can be more powerful than an hour of anxious effort. 10 minutes of present effort can be more productive than a day of distracted striving. You can honor clock time for appointments while honoring healing time for your inner life. It helps to measure your days by questions like, did I listen? Did I keep company with myself? Did I honor one rhythm? These measures are quieter and kinder, and they lead, paradoxically, to steadier progress. Because we are practicing holding identity lightly, let's touch that again with compassion. You might have called yourself lazy, weak, dramatic, or broken. Those were rough guesses made in hard moments. Replace them with truer descriptions. I am learning rhythm. I am rebuilding trust with my body. I am practicing the middle way. These are not slogans. They are observations of what you are doing right now. When identity steps back, curiosity steps forward. And curiosity is the friend of healing. If you would like to close your eyes now, do. If staying awake with soft attention feels better, that is welcome. Notice the temperature on your cheeks, the shape your body makes against the bed or chair, the way the room holds you without comment. Offer yourself one small vow for tomorrow, kept deliberately small so it can be kept easily. I will drink water in the morning and notice its path. I will choose a gentler light after sunset. I will ask for help with one task. I will do 2 cups and a pause. Pick one or create your own and let it be enough. Before we close, one more micro practice that threads rhythm through your day. Tiny bow to change, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right when you notice any shift, a sigh, a softening, a cloud moving, the fan turning, let your chin dip a millimeter as if bowing to change itself. Then lift your eyes back to the room. You can stop anytime. This is a way of telling your body that change is normal, that you do not need to brace against it, that rhythm is safe. Let the evening take you now. Hear that steady background sound again, the fan or the night air. Imagine your breath moving like it, round and unhurried. You are leaning into a wisdom older than your plans. The body understands this language. You are speaking it by returning, again and again, to noticing, naming, and nourishing in small, rhythmic arcs. Tomorrow we will explore how to listen when strong emotions visit and how to keep your footing when the inner weather shifts quickly. For tonight, the pendulum can slow until it becomes almost still. Your resting is part of the song. This evening has a different texture, a slight coolness in the air, the kind that invites you to tuck the blanket closer and feel the simple weight of fabric across your legs. Somewhere nearby, a clock ticks or a refrigerator hums with its predictable cycle. Let one of those steady sounds become background company, not to distract you, but to remind your body that time moves in soft, even steps. Set your gaze on something gentle, the round rim of a cup, the curve of a curtain, and notice how your shoulders respond when your eyes rest on curves instead of sharp edges. You don't need to do anything special with your breath. Just allow a slower exhale to arrive when it wants, like a friendly guest who knows your door is always open. Tonight we listen for strong emotions. Bodies and feelings are old friends. They share hallways, they borrow each other's rooms. When emotions surge, anger tightening the throat, sadness dampening the chest, fear quickening the belly, your body speaks first. If you have ever felt overwhelmed, that isn't a personal failure. It's your system trying to keep you safe with old strategies that once worked. We'll greet those strategies with the same kindness we bring to tired muscles. We'll learn what helps them soften, update themselves, and return you to balance. Begin by letting your attention settle into simple contact. The surface beneath you has a shape that meets the shape of your body. Notice the way your back is supported, the way your hips are held. Now bring curiosity to one small area, perhaps the space around your eyes or the inside of your mouth. Let those places be as they are. The act of observing without fixing is already medicine. It tells your system it's safe enough to notice. We often think feelings live in thoughts, sentences looping, stories repeating, but the first truth of emotion is bodily. Anger burns or pressurizes. Sadness drapes or hollows. Fear condenses or vibrates. Joy widens and brightens. If you go straight to managing the story, you miss the doorway. Listening begins with sensation, then moves to wise response, then, if needed, gently edits the narrative. When you follow this order, you avoid the trap of arguing with invisible enemies and instead care for the real creature in the room, your living, sensing body. Let's practice meeting a feeling at the level of sensation. Name and nest 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind a mild version of a recent feeling, not the hardest one, just a small wave. Scan for where it lives in your body right now: throat, chest, belly, jaw, hands. Name it in 2 words like tight chest, hot jaw, flutter belly. Then adjust your position by an inch to support that area: pillow, hand, shift. If at any moment it's too much, pause or open your eyes wider and look around the room. You can stop anytime. This is listening before solving. Strong feelings often trigger the 3 familiar frictions. Craving shows up as the demand for certainty. I need this feeling gone now. Aversion flares as resistance. Not this, push it away. Confusion arrives as a storm of analysis. Why is this happening? What does it mean about me? What if it never ends? We counter them with release, acceptance, and clear seeing. Release loosens the grip on timelines and outcomes. Acceptance allows the feeling to be present without making it the whole sky. Clear seeing names what is actually here: tightness, heat, pressure, and chooses one supportive action. This alchemy turns emotion into energy you can befriend. I want to offer you a gentle story that points to this. In one telling from the Buddha's life, a man insulted him in public, angry and loud. The Buddha listened quietly and then asked the man a question. If someone brings a gift you do not accept, to whom does it belong? The man said, to the one who offered it. The Buddha replied, just so, I do not accept your anger. Whether or not those exact words were spoken, the lesson is simple and kind. You have a say in what you pick up. Tonight, we apply that not by suppressing feeling, but by choosing how and when we hold it. We can cradle it for a while, then set it down, then pick it up again when we have the capacity, just as you might carry a heavy pot for a few steps. Rest it on a table, then continue. Try a micro practice that gives your body a clear, physical way to do this. Hold in place 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, curl your fingers lightly into your palm as if holding a small stone. Let the sensation of holding represent the feeling you're with. After 1 or 2 breaths, unclench gently and place your hand palm down on your thigh or the blanket, as if setting the stone down. Repeat once. You can pause anytime. This is a body-level rehearsal for carrying and resting emotion in humane intervals. Anger deserves a special word here. Many of us treat anger like a fire to be feared or a weapon to be wielded. But anger often arrives as a protector, blunt, imperfect, trying to keep you from harm. It says, a boundary was crossed. Pay attention. Listening to anger means locating it in the body, respecting the message, and choosing a safe response that doesn't scorch your nervous system. It might look like moving your body a little to discharge heat. It might look like naming a boundary calmly tomorrow instead of at midnight. It might look like writing 3 sentences you won't send and letting their heat cool on the page. Cooling the coal 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, bring attention to the center of the chest or the belly. Imagine the feeling like a warm coal, not a wildfire. Cup your hands an inch in front of that area, palms facing in, and breathe naturally for 3 breaths. On the 3rd exhale, lower your hands and feel the support beneath you. If the image doesn't help, let it go and simply relax your jaw by 5%. You can stop anytime. The goal is not to eliminate anger, but to keep it company as it cools enough to carry. Sadness has its own weather. It can feel like drizzle that lasts for days or a sudden squall that arrives from nowhere. The body's answer to sadness is often wait, a desire to lie down, to be held, to be quiet. Many of us fight this with stimulus. We crank up the lights or the speed of our thinking. Listening suggests something else. Reduce stimulation a little and add steady contact. Gravity is not the enemy. It can be a comforter when met deliberately. Weighted kindness, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, place one hand over your heart and let its weight be a message. I'm here. Then, if you can, place a second small weight, a folded towel or another hand over your belly. Stay for 2 or 3 natural breaths. You can pause anytime. If lying down isn't supportive, stay seated and imagine a soft blanket laid across your shoulders by someone who loves you. Fear, too, speaks through the body, a quickened pulse, alert eyes, breath that tries to stay shallow in case running is required. Fear helps when a car swerves. But when you're safe at home and fear still hums, you can gently re-educate your system. Rather than telling fear to go away, invite it into a bigger room. Help it see the actual walls and windows, the actual light and furniture. Your senses are doors to that bigger room. 5 things real, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, silently name 3 things you can see, then 2 sounds you can hear, then 1 place where your body is in contact with support. No need to hunt for special details. Ordinary is perfect. If counting feels irritating, drop the numbers and just look, listen, and feel for a few breaths. You can pause anytime. This isn't distraction, it's orientation. Sometimes an emotion seems to have no cause you can name. Confusion will try to invent reasons, stringing narratives that make you feel worse. Clear seeing steps in with humility. Maybe there is no clear story right now. Maybe this is weather. Maybe the body needs energy or water or quiet. Remember your simple loop from earlier nights. Notice, name, nourish. Apply it to mood. Notice the feeling, name the body sensation, nourish with 1 small act. You don't need to monologue your history to the ceiling at 2 a.m. You can sip water, adjust a pillow, and let the system reset a notch. Because feelings often spill into relationships, let's tread gently there. Listening to your body during a conversation is not selfish, it is skillful. If your chest tightens as a topic arises, you can slow the pace. If your jaw clenches, you can soften it before you speak. If your shoulders lift toward your ears, you can roll them once and choose a kinder tone. You can even say out loud, "Give me a second, I want to respond with care." That single sentence honors both bodies, yours and the other person's. If you have children, you'll know how quickly emotions move through a small body. Tears, laughter, frustration, delight, all within minutes. The body is honest. Sometimes our adult fear is not of emotion itself, but of its duration. We worry we'll drown if we enter the water. So let's practice titration, small sips instead of gulps. 10-second wave, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, pick a mild feeling and set a tiny container. For the next 10 seconds, I'll really feel the sensation in my chest. Begin, feel, then after 10 seconds, shift attention to the room, the lamp, the window, the texture of fabric. You can stop anytime. Over time, your body learns that feelings have edges and ends. I want to return to the story of the raft, a teaching image used often. The teachings, it said, are like a raft used to cross a river. Once you reach the other side, you don't carry the raft on your back, you set it down. The raft of tonight is your techniques, the practices, the words, the images. Use them to cross from overwhelm to steadiness. Once you're on the bank of safety, let the raft rest. You don't need to hold techniques tight all day. You need to know they are there, and that you can pick one up when the river rises again. Now let's weave emotion care into 3 ordinary scenes. First, traffic. Horns, brake lights, the slow creep forward. Notice how impatience makes the body small, shoulders rising, hands gripping, breath contained. Listening here could be as simple as widening your gaze from the bumper ahead to the full windscreen, noticing the sky's color, loosening your grip by 10%, letting your tongue rest gently. Craving wants the lane to open as proof of worth. Acceptance says, we are moving slowly and I can be kind inside this car. Clear seeing adds, I can put on a soft song or sit in the quiet and give my spine a little length. Second, email. A crowded inbox can masquerade as a moral test. Let your body decide the order tonight. Choose one message. Before you type, feel your feet. As you type, notice your jaw. After you send, let your eyes rest on something non-digital for 3 breaths. You are not your scent items. You are a body that moves electricity through muscle and nerve to shape letters. Respect that effort. It will repay you with steadier focus and less afterburn. Third, parenting or caregiving. A small person cries. A loved one asks for help at the hour you least want to give it. Your body tightens with a mix of love and fatigue. If it feels right, answer first with contact that costs little: a hand on a shoulder, a low, steady voice, a simple yes, while you check your own signals. If your tank is empty, name it and make a tiny plan. I'll sit with you for 5 minutes, then we'll both take a break. I'll warm soup now and we'll talk about the rest tomorrow morning. Boundaries spoken with warmth are not refusals of love. They are repairs that keep love possible. Here's a small practice for moments that feel combustible. Mouth soft, words slow, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, place the tip of your tongue lightly on the ridge behind your top teeth and let your lips touch without pressing. Feel how this softens your mouth. Now say a single sentence in your mind at half speed. I want to speak with care. You can stop anytime. This posture tells your body and brain that sharpness is not required right now. Sometimes the feeling that arrives is joy. Healing can make joy feel dangerous, as if enjoying a moment will invite loss. Listening helps you welcome joy in small, grounded doses. Name the warm places it touches. Let yourself have one more sip of what is sweet: a laugh, a view, a quiet moment, and then return to ordinary tasks without apology. Joy isn't a betrayal of your pain. It's part of your nervous system's recovery, a signal that safety can return. Your identity might protest these experiments. It may say, I'm the one who fixes things immediately, or I'm the one who breaks down. These are old names. You're learning new ones that are more accurate. I'm the one who listens. I'm the one who chooses humane pace. I'm the one who can carry and set down. I'm the one who can feel and not be flooded. Try these on privately. Let them fit slowly, like a sweater warming to your shape. Let's add one more practice to carry into tomorrow. A way to greet any feeling at the threshold of your day. Doorframe check-in, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose the door you use most in the morning. Each time you pass through it, pause with one foot in and one foot out. Ask softly, what is here? Name one sensation in your body and one simple kindness you can offer in the next few minutes: water, sunlight, slower steps, a smaller task. Then continue. You can stop anytime. Repeating this makes thresholds into friends. As evening gathers, let your body take up a little more space. If you are in bed, allow your legs to stretch in a way that feels safe. If seated, lean back 1 degree more and feel the support catch you. Imagine the ceiling a little higher, the room a little wider. Give your feelings all the room they need to be waves instead of trapped water. You don't have to dredge the ocean tonight. You only have to float on the surface, held by breath and supported by the good, ordinary world around you. Offer yourself a kindness in words, spoken inside your mind or whispered if that feels right. Something like, I am allowed to feel, I am allowed to rest, I am allowed to heal at a humane pace. If those words don't land, choose your own. The point is not poetry, it's truth. Truth delivered in a warm tone is a balm the nervous system recognizes. Before we close, return to simple contact again. Feel head, shoulders, back, hips, legs, feet. Notice one place of ease. Notice one place asking for care. Place a hand on either one, comfort or ache, and keep it there for 3 easy breaths, like a small lamp left on low through the night. Nothing dramatic is required. What matters is that you stayed with yourself. You heard the body's language and answered with presence. Tomorrow we'll explore how values guide listening, how to choose what matters when energy is limited, and how to let your days be shaped by meaning rather than by urgency. For now, the evening is enough. The room is enough. Your breath is enough. You are enough exactly as you are, with everything you feel carried here with gentleness. Let the room feel simple tonight. Maybe you turned one lamp a little lower, and the glow gathers like honey in a small circle on the floor. Maybe the air moves softly against your cheeks, a barely there breeze through a partly open window. Notice the comfortable weight of your body where it meets the mattress or chair. Let your breath arrive like an old friend who doesn't need to knock. No need to deepen it. Just allow the exhale to take a fraction longer, as if it had found a slower road home. We turn now toward values, those quiet stars you can navigate by when energy is scarce and urgency tries to boss you around. Values are not goals, they are directions. You don't finish kindness or honesty the way you finish a project. You travel in their direction, step by small step, and the journey itself gives meaning to your moments. When the body is recovering, values become a gentle compass. They help you decide what deserves your attention and what can be set down without guilt. We'll let listening guide us to those stars and use them to draw a simpler map for your days. Start by letting your attention rest on one place of contact, the back of your head, the curve where your lower ribs meet the bed, the soft weight of your calves. Then expand your attention to include the whole room, the dimness, the quiet, whatever small sounds live here. Inside this wider space, ask yourself a simple question, silently and without pressure. What matters to me when I have only a handful of good moments to spend? Don't hunt for an answer. Let one appear like a firefly in a field. If nothing comes, that is fine. The question itself is a kindness. We'll try on possibilities together. A value is the tone you want to bring to what you do. Presence could be a value. So could kindness, steadiness, curiosity, truth-telling, patience, courage, playfulness, care. In hard seasons, it helps to choose 2 or 3 values only, not a bouquet you can't carry. Values don't make more energy appear. They help you spend what you have with less regret. Without a compass, urgency grabs everything. With a compass, you let some things pass by without apology because they do not point to your north. Let's make this practical with a small practice you can return to all week. Values compass in hand, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, place one palm over your heart and one over your belly. Name one value you want to embody tomorrow morning, for example, kindness. Then picture one tiny scene where that value could live. Pouring tea, sending a message, picking up a towel from the floor. Decide on one action that costs very little and expresses the value, a softer tone, a slower hand, one sentence of gratitude. If the scene feels vague, pick a simpler one. You can pause anytime. The goal is not to solve your life. It's to plant one flag you can actually reach. When you start spending your minutes by value, the 3 old frictions show up in costume. Craving says, if I can't live all my values perfectly right now, it isn't worth trying. Aversion says, I don't want to feel limited. I'll just ignore my body and do everything. Confusion says, there are too many values. I'll analyze them all and do nothing. We answer craving with release. I'll start where I am with one small expression. We answer aversion with acceptance. I am limited for now and still worthy. I'll choose a humane pace. We answer confusion with clear seeing. I'll pick one value for this hour and let the rest wait. There's a simple story that helps here. In many tellings of the Buddha's life, as he searched and strained, a village girl named Sujata noticed his weakened body beneath a tree and offered a bowl of sweet rice. He accepted, ate, and regained enough strength to continue, not with punishment, but with the middle way. Whether or not you picture the scene exactly, the lesson is steady. Values aren't lofty slogans. They are embodied in tiny, nourishing acts. Accepting help can be the most faithful expression of the value of wisdom. Eating when the body needs food can be the truest form of respect for life. You don't become less spiritual or less strong by honoring the body's requests. You become more honest and more available for what matters. We'll shape your days around 3 small circles: body care, meaningful connection, and one honest task. Each circle can be tiny. Together they carry you through without letting urgency run the show. Body care first. Listening begins at the surface: water, warmth, light, movement, rest. Ask the body, what is the smallest helpful thing right now? A sip, a stretch of toes, a change of light, 3 minutes lying down, one warm layer. Values give these acts dignity. If care is a value, then your glass of water is not trivial. It is the practice itself. If steadiness is a value, then going to bed 10 minutes earlier is a powerful move. Meaningful connection second. This could mean a few minutes with someone you love, or simply attending to your own inner life with kindness. If connection is a value, you might send one sincere line to a friend or rest a hand on your chest and say, "I'm with you." You don't need a long call. You need an honest moment. One honest task third. Choose one task that matters more than the others. Not the loudest, not the easiest, but the one that moves your life in a direction you care about. Name it plainly and right-size it. If today you cannot do the whole thing, do the truest small piece. Your value here might be truth-telling or reliability. Keep the promise small so you can keep it. Try a micro-practice that sets this triad in motion. Tiny yes, tiny no, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, say softly inside, "Today my tiny yes is," and name one small action aligned with a value. Then say, "Today my tiny no is," and name one thing you will release or shrink because it doesn't serve your compass tonight. Write them down if you like, or just feel how your body responds. You can pause anytime. The yes and the no are both acts of care. When energy is low, urgency loves to knock with a sack of shoulds. It tells you that you are behind, that others expect things, that the list is long and unforgiving. Listening doesn't pretend the world stops. It teaches you to meet the world with a humane pace. Sometimes a yes needs a boundary around it, like a garden has a fence. You might say, "I can help for 15 minutes, then I have to rest." Or, "I can come, but I'll leave by 9. These limits are not failures. They are how you protect the values that matter to you, like presence and kindness, from being eroded by overextension. A small, practical tool for this. Kind boundary line, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, think of one upcoming request or task. Form one sentence that includes both your value and your limit. For example, "Because I value being present, I can meet for 20 minutes, not an hour." Or, "Because I value steady recovery, I'm saying no to travel this week." Say the sentence in your mind at half speed. If it feels too sharp, soften 2 words until your body eases. You can pause anytime. The boundary should feel like a warm gate, not a slammed door. Some evenings, values will tug in different directions. You value honesty and you value kindness. You value rest and you value showing up. Listening helps you hold these as living companions instead of enemies. There is a middle way sentence that often helps. "I will tell the truth softly and then I will rest." Or, "I will show up briefly and fully and then I will step back." Values don't require drama to coexist. They require sequence and scale. Another simple piece of the map is an energy budget. Not numbers, sensations. Imagine you wake with a certain amount of light in your lantern. You don't pour it all on one patch of ground before noon and stumble in the dark later. You walk with it, lighting what matters as you go. This means you choose which fires to tend and which to let go cold. The news cycle might want your lantern, so might a dozen small obligations. You can ask, does this truly serve a value today, or is it habit and fear of missing out? Clear seeing usually knows. Energy budget scan, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, picture your lantern at its current brightness. Name 3 places it could go tomorrow. Then choose one primary and one small secondary. Say quietly, I will light these and let the rest wait. Feel your breath once more. You can pause anytime. The point is not perfection, it's intention that matches your body's truth. Values are not only about doing, they are about how you speak to yourself. Many of us carry an inner voice that thinks criticism is the only path to improvement. But when the body is healing, criticism is sand in the gears. Choose a value for your inner tone, gentleness, honesty with kindness, patience. Then practice a single phrase that embodies it. For example, thank you for trying, or let's do the next kind thing, or this is enough for tonight. Repetition here trains the nervous system to expect warmth instead of attack, and that expectation itself lowers tension. Let's weave values into tiny, ordinary moments you already have. While washing your hands, if presence is a value, feel the water for the first 2 seconds before your mind wanders. While stepping outside, if wonder is a value, look up and name one color in the sky. While sitting down, if care is a value, adjust the cushion so your back is supported before you reply to anyone. While speaking, if truth is a value, say one sentence you actually mean instead of 5 that circle around it. These are not chores. They are little tithes you pay to what you cherish. Because stories teach better than instructions, here's a short parable many love, paraphrased in a gentle way. A monk carried a heavy pail from the river each day, spilling a little as he walked. He worried about the waste and tried to correct his grip, but the path was uneven and water escaped anyway. One evening, a child pointed to the edge of the path where wildflowers had sprung up along the route, nourished by the drips. You think you are failing, the child said, but look what your imperfection waters. The monk smiled and walked home slowly, letting a few more drops fall on purpose. The lesson isn't to spill carelessly. It's that a life lived by values grows flowers even when the path isn't neat. Your kindness, your steady attention, your small rest in the afternoon, these drip into the soil of your days and feed what blooms later. If guilt arises when you choose by values, meet it with curiosity. Ask, whose voice is this? Often it's an old expectation, a teacher, a parent, a culture that worships speed. You can thank the voice for wanting you to belong and then offer it a new belonging. In this home, we honor humane pace. In this season, we choose presence over polish. In this body, we respect signals. That is how traditions change quietly, one household at a time, starting within your own skin. Here is a pair of small practices to anchor values at the edges of your day. Morning seed, evening harvest, each 30 to 45 seconds. In the morning, if it feels right, name one value and one tiny action that expresses it before noon. Place it on a note or in your mind like a seed. In the evening, name one moment where that value showed up, even faintly. Harvest it by acknowledging it with a warm sentence. I brought kindness to pouring tea. I'm proud of that. You can pause anytime. The seed and harvest do not need to be grand to nourish you. You might wonder how values relate to ambition. Ambition is not wrong. It just needs a harness so it doesn't drag you across hard ground. Let your values be the harness. If learning is a value, you can pursue it by reading one page with full attention instead of 10 distracted. If service is a value, you can offer it by helping one person well instead of promising a dozen things and burning out. The middle way is not mediocrity. It is precision about what matters. Identity often wraps itself around values in rigid ways. I'm the generous one. I'm the reliable one, and then resists change when your body needs a different expression. Loosen the labels. Instead of I'm generous means I say yes to every request. Let it mean I'm generous with what I can truly offer today. Instead of I'm reliable means I never cancel. Let it mean I communicate honestly and keep the promises I can keep. Values are living verbs, not statues you must worship. Because the mind can argue with abstractions, bring this down to your body again. Feel into what happens when you pick one value and act it out in a tiny way. Notice your chest, your jaw, your breath. Usually there is a slight widening, a softening in the face, a sense of alignment that costs less energy than pretend versions of yourself. That sensation is feedback you can trust. Let's close with 2 final micro practices for tonight. Pocket reminder 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, choose a physical cue for your chosen value, a ring you touch, a bracelet you adjust, a corner of your sleeve you smooth. When you touch it tomorrow, let it remind you of the one action you picked. You can stop anytime. Tangible reminders save you from asking your tired mind to remember everything. Enough bell 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, decide on a simple cue that ends effort compassionately. A timer's soft chime, the closing of a book, the click of a light. When it sounds or happens, say quietly, enough for now, and let your body lean into rest. You can pause anytime. Ending well protects the value of steadiness. Let your shoulders slip a little lower. Let your mouth soften at the corners. If your eyes want to close, allow them to. If staying awake feels better, keep them relaxed and half open. The lamp's glow, the faint breeze, the quiet room, all of it is on your side. Offer yourself one sentence of blessing that honors values and limits together. May I spend my small lights wisely. May I be kind in how I carry myself. May I move by the stars that matter and rest when the sky is cloudy. Tomorrow will bring this compass into decision-making when life gets noisy. How to choose next steps amid competing needs, how to navigate setbacks without losing the thread, and how to keep listening when others don't understand your pace. For now, you've done enough. The night is holding you. Your body is listening back. Let the night settle around you like a soft shawl. Perhaps there's a hush outside, the distant rumor of traffic fading to a low, even murmur, or the small song of crickets if you're somewhere greener. Feel the pillow shape to your head, the way fabric gathers under your palms. Let your breath be unremarkable and kind, a tide that knows the shoreline by heart. Nothing to chase, nothing to resist, just the easy company of this room and this body you're learning to trust again. Tonight we'll lean into a second pillar of listening, clear seeing. We've already met release and acceptance. Now we give the lamp of clarity a steadier glow. Clear seeing is not cold analysis. It's warm accuracy. It's the ability to tell the difference between a sensation and a story, between a helpful effort and a draining performance, between a true need and an old habit. When the lamp is lit, you stop fighting shadows and start tending real things. It saves energy, which becomes healing fuel. Begin with the simplest clarity, contact and temperature. Feel the exact points where your body is held, the back of your head, the curve of your shoulder blades, the wide shelf of your hips, the length of your legs. Notice the temperature at your cheeks, your hands, your feet. Let the mind narrate in plain words if that helps. Warm hands, cool air, strong support. This isn't about achieving a state. It's about seeing what is here without adding or subtracting. When you do this, the nervous system hears honesty and settles. Honesty is a kind of safety. Clear seeing is easily smudged by the 3 familiar frictions. Craving wraps fantasies around the future, promising you'll finally be okay when X happens, and everything between then and now becomes an enemy. Aversion paints the present as a mistake to be corrected, so you miss its quiet cues. Confusion throws glitter on everything, so the simplest next step feels hidden. The antidote is to bring the lens closer. What can you verify right now in the body? What one action actually helps right now? That is the practice. Try a small exercise to warm up this lens. Label, then look 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, pick one sensation and name it in 2 or 3 plain words: tight throat, warm belly, heavy eyes. Then pause and look again without words, as if you're noticing color or texture. Let the sensation be a moving thing rather than a verdict. If it's too much, open your eyes wider and let the room in. You can pause anytime. This is how you loosen stories while keeping company with what's real. Clear seeing also means learning the landscape of your body, not as a diagram in a book, but as your lived map. Each person's map is unique. One shoulder hoards old arguments. One side of the jaw keeps score. The belly remembers a season of fear. The back carries the weight of staying upright for everyone. You don't need to excavate memories. You can simply get curious about patterns and set down the heavy parts a little at a time. Body map sketch, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, imagine your body as a simple outline. Let 3 places light up where you often notice tension. Visit each for one natural breath. At each spot, ask what helps here: warmth, pressure, movement, rest, kindness. If no answer comes, that is still valuable information. You can pause anytime. Over days, your map gets more detailed and care becomes more precise. Clarity loves precision, and precision reduces suffering. Instead of "I'm exhausted and broken," you might say, "My eyes are gritty and my lower back wants support." Instead of "I can't do anything," you might say, "My energy dips around mid-afternoon and 10 minutes horizontal helps." The first kind of sentence invites despair. The second invites action that fits your real life. This is not semantics, it's medicine delivered through truthful language. Because clarity is gentle, we'll apply it to posture and effort. Many of us grip more than we know, a subtle bracing in the jaw, a perpetual lift of the shoulders, a belly held in as if preparing for a blow. These make sense. They kept you going. Now we'll give them updated instructions. Kind posture tune, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a string lifting the crown of your head by 1 centimeter. Let the chin float level. Loosen the space behind your molars. Let your tongue rest like a lazy river. Let the shoulders fall outward a little as if coat hangers widen. Let the belly be an animal at home. If any cue irritates the body, drop it and keep one that helps. You can pause anytime. The goal is not perfect form, but a little less fight. Clarity also changes how you deal with advice. In a noisy world, everyone has a recipe. Some will help, some won't. Most will help sometimes. Clear seeing trains you to evaluate inputs through the body. You try a suggestion small, you listen for effects. You keep what fits your season and set down what doesn't. This frees you from arguing about philosophies and lets you live inside feedback. You become a kind scientist of your own life. 5-breath trial, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose one suggestion you've heard, a stretch, a sip, a stop, and try it for 5 easy breaths. Afterward, ask the body, do I feel more steady, less steady, or the same? Keep or discard without drama. You can pause anytime. This turns opinion into data gathered with care. Because stories carry power, here is one to tuck into your evening. A teacher held up a glass of water before a group and asked how heavy it was. People guessed numbers. The teacher said, "The weight doesn't matter as much as how long you hold it. A minute, fine. An hour, your arm aches. A day, your arm goes numb. The glass is your stress. Putting it down and picking it up is the skill." This echoes our pendulum from earlier nights, but tonight the lamp of clarity adds detail. You can put down what you cannot usefully hold now. You can schedule effort. You can set the glass on the table while you breathe and pick it up again with fresher hands. Let's bring the lamp into 3 sticky places where accuracy helps. First, pain flares. The mind often leaps from a flare to a prophecy. This will ruin tomorrow. Clear seeing breaks the leap. Pain now is pain now. It may last, it may pass, it may shift. Let's tend it now. The body likes that honesty. It stops bracing against an invented future and gives you better information. Pain to place, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, aim your attention at the edges of a discomfort, not its center. Trace its boundary lightly with your mind. Is it the size of a coin, a hand, a plate? Does it move as you breathe? If it's too intense, move to a neutral area nearby and alternate attention, discomfort, neutral, discomfort, neutral. You can pause anytime. This helps your system perceive detail instead of a global alarm. Second, fatigue. Fatigue wears many masks: sleepy, heavy, foggy, brittle, checked out. Each mask requests a slightly different kindness. Sleepiness might want darkness. Heaviness might want a few minutes horizontal. Fog might want water or fresh air. Brittleness might want quiet. Checked out might want a tiny dose of contact, a hand on your own arm before rest. Clarity helps you pick the right medicine instead of applying a random fix and calling it a failure when it doesn't work. Name the fatigue 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose which mask you're wearing: sleepy, heavy, foggy, brittle, checked out, or your own word. Offer one fitting kindness. If it doesn't help, you learn something. You can pause anytime. Matching care to type saves energy you can use for healing. Third, motivation dips. Many of us diagnose ourselves as lazy when our body is simply cautious. Clear seeing asks, what am I avoiding specifically, and what tiny part could I try while keeping the rest on the table? Once you name the avoided piece, you can right-size it, ask for help, or decide not now without shame. 1 inch start 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, pick a task and do 1 inch of it. Open the document, wash one fork, step outside to the threshold and back. Ask the body afterward, more or stop. Either answer is allowed. You can pause anytime. This turns motivation into a dialogue instead of a verdict. Clarity is tender in relationships too. When someone you love speaks quickly or loudly, your body hears tone before meaning. Clear seeing adds a beat. Name tone, then choose response. You might think, loud voice, fast words, I'll slow my breath first. Or quiet tone, open face, I can ask for what I need now. Accuracy about tone lets you bring your values into the conversation instead of being carried by reflex. Sometimes you'll feel a spike of self-judgment when clarity shows you a habit you prefer not to see. Meet that spike with a steady hand. Seeing is step one. You don't need to fix everything in the same breath. The nervous system trusts change that moves at human speed. Because this is a long journey, we'll add clarity to rest. Rest is not the absence of doing. It is a specific kind of doing that replenishes. There is crash rest that arrives after you've gone too far. There is scroll rest that numbs but doesn't restore. There is supportive rest that actually refuels. Clear seeing helps you pick the third more often. Support triangle 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, give your body 3 points of support: head, back, knees adjusted until each feels held. Stay for 2 easy breaths, noticing what changes. If you can, let your eyes soften as if they're looking out over a lake. If it's uncomfortable, shift or stop. You can pause anytime. The shape of support matters. The body responds to geometry. Now comes a parable, retold gently. A forest monk treasured a clear glass he used each day. He would remind himself softly, the glass is already broken. He didn't mean it pessimistically. He meant that in a world of change, the glass would one day slip or crack. Knowing this, he could delight in it fully now and grieve without being surprised later. This is not an invitation to indifference. It's an invitation to present-moment gratitude that doesn't demand guarantees. Your body is not a fragile glass, but it is a changing, living friend. Clear seeing lets you love it as it is tonight without arguing with impermanence. Impermanence often scares the mind because it hears change as loss. But change is also how pain eases, how moods shift, how seasons turn, how healing unfolds one cell at a time. When you practice noticing subtle change, one muscle softening, one breath lengthening, one thought dissolving, you train your system to expect good changes too. This expectation reduces bracing and leaves more energy for repair. Subtle shift hunt 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, pick an area: shoulders, face, hands. Watch it for 3 breaths and look for a 2% change, a tiny warm spot, a slight drop of tension, a softer corner. If you find none, that's okay. Noticing still counts. You can pause anytime. This practice tilts your attention toward the evidence of mobility instead of the myth of stuckness. Clarity also respects limits. Sometimes the kindest, clearest move is to stop, not because you quit, but because you listened accurately. Stopping is not the opposite of perseverance. It's how perseverance doesn't become self-harm. Clear seeing notices the difference between I'm scared and I'm at my edge. If it's fear, you can try a tiny inch more. If it's your edge, you can bow, stop, and feed yourself. Edge or fear, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, ask your body, is this edge or fear? Edge often feels hot and brittle with a tug to keep going despite signals. Fear often feels buzzy with space to breathe into it. Neither is wrong. If it's fear and it feels safe, try one small step with company. If it's edge, step back and add care. You can pause anytime. This is grown-up wisdom in motion. Since clarity is a lamp, let's walk it through a few ordinary scenes. In the kitchen, put one soft boundary around energy. One pan meals on low-energy nights. Leave dishes to soak without guilt. Sit while chopping. Accuracy says, I have 40 minutes of light today, not 2 hours. I'll spend them feeding myself kindly, not perfecting a recipe. At your desk, create a tiny truth ritual. Before opening a program, put a hand on your ribs and ask, what is the one true thing I can do now? Do that, then rest. This saves you from the spiral of opening 10 tabs and calling it effort. Effort counts when it moves what matters. In conversation, notice posture. If you lean forward like you're chasing the other person's approval, lean back a centimeter and feel your own spine. If you collapse because you're tired, consider naming it. I want to listen, and my body is low on fuel. Can we pause soon? This kind of clarity is kindness to both people. Since clear seeing needs a container, we'll give it one more simple tool. 3-breath gate, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, before any decision after 9 p.m., take 3 natural breaths with your eyes resting on something still. Ask, does this action support recovery tonight? If not, could it wait? Choose accordingly. You can pause anytime. This spares you from tired night bargains that cost tomorrow's light. Notice as the room holds you how much less is required when you're accurate. You don't need a heroic ritual. You need a few right fits repeated gently. You don't need to fix the whole week. You need to see tonight clearly and respond with a humane scale act. Identity softens inside clarity. You don't have to be the person who always powers through or the person who always avoids. You can be the person who sees accurately and acts accordingly. Some nights that will look like staying up to comfort a child with steady presence, then asking for help the next day. Some nights it will look like turning off the light earlier and calling that wisdom. The self grows more spacious when it is not strapped to one strategy. If you want to, close your eyes now and let your breath loosen any edges that feel sharp. If staying with eyes open is kinder, let your gaze soften and widen so you see more of the room at once. Whisper a sentence that suits clear seeing. I will tell the truth to myself gently. Or, I will choose the next helpful inch. Or, I will stop when stopping is right. If none of these fit, let silence be your sentence and feel the weight of your body doing the talking. Before we end, one last micro practice to carry into tomorrow morning. First, light check 30 to 45 seconds. When you first stand up, if it feels right, pause with your hand on a wall or door frame. Ask your body for one accurate fact and one kind plan. Fact, my calves are tight. Plan, 2 slow ankle circles at the sink. Fact, my mood is low, plan, sunlight on face for 1 minute. Fact, my mind is racing, plan, write one line, then T. You can stop anytime. Beginning with accuracy bends the whole day toward care. Let your shoulders settle heavier, your jaw a little looser. Feel the pillow, the blanket, the faithful support of the bed or the chair. The lamp of clarity can dim now to a nightlight. It will still be there when you need it. The body feels your honesty and in response, slowly releases its long-held guard. This is how natural recovery happens, not by force, not by denial, but by 1,000 small moments of truthful attention woven through ordinary life. Tomorrow will bring clarity into setbacks and flare days, how to meet them without panic, how to adjust your sails while keeping your compass, and how to soothe the part of you that fears you've lost ground. For now, let night carry you. You listened. You saw. You chose small kindnesses that fit. That is the path. Let the quiet be simple tonight. Maybe there's a faint glow from the hallway, like moonlight borrowed by a wall. Maybe the air in the room is still, making a small, warm pocket beneath your blanket. Feel the fabric where it meets your wrists. Notice the calm weight of your heels and the soft lift of your chest as breath comes and goes. You don't have to make anything happen. Your only task is to be available to this gentleness as you are right now. Tonight we walk together through setbacks and flare days, the times when symptoms swell, energy thins, or emotion rises like a sudden tide and the mind whispers, "I'm losing ground." These are not proof that you're failing. They're part of the weather of recovery. Nature doesn't travel in straight lines. It circles, it spirals, it revisits old places with new light. Listening turns a setback from a verdict into information. A flare becomes a conversation partner rather than a judge. We'll learn to meet these days with 3 moves: stabilize, simplify, and soften. Stabilize the body's safety signals. Simplify your plans to match reality. Soften your inner tone so you can stay with yourself without burning extra fuel. Begin by returning to the most basic conversation your body loves: contact and breath. Feel the surface under you receiving your weight. Let your gaze rest on one quiet point or close your eyes if that feels safer. Allow your exhale to lengthen by a small degree, not forced, just permitted, like a yawn that begins by itself. Notice the tiny drop in effort when the breath is allowed to be ordinary. On flare days, the 3 familiar frictions often get loud. Craving declares, "I must get back to yesterday's energy now." Aversion insists, "This shouldn't be happening, push through or hide." Confusion throws noise into the room, plans, research, blame, future catastrophes. None of this means you're doing something wrong. It just means your system is trying to protect you using old habits. Tonight we'll practice 3 antidotes in order. Release the timeline, accept the present body, see clearly the next humane inch. Order matters. When you release your grip first, acceptance becomes gentler. When you accept, clarity grows honest. Then humane action is possible. We start with a tiny ritual for the first 5 minutes of a flare. First 5 reset 60 seconds. If it feels right, place one hand where your body seems loudest and the other hand where it feels neutral. Name 2 facts in plain words. Here is pressure in the chest. Here is warmth under my palms. Then say quietly inside, we're going to move slower for a while. If that sentence doesn't fit, choose your own. You can pause anytime. The aim is to mark the change of weather without panic. Stabilization is about signaling safety to a system that has begun to brace. Safety signals are physical, specific, and small. They include steady contact, a predictable rhythm, warm tones of voice, softer light, reduced input, and choosing a single next action. You don't have to deliver all of these at once. Pick 1 or 2 and let them land fully. Because flares often tighten the face and throat, we'll release those areas first. Jaw unhook and tongue rest, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, Let your lips meet gently and relax the hinge of the jaw by imagining the space between your molars widening slightly. Rest the tongue like a lazy river on the floor of the mouth. If your nose feels stuffy, part your lips a little. You can stop anytime. This alone can lower the internal alarm by a notch. Now choose your light. Harsh brightness can make the nervous system feel interrogated. On flare days, softer light is like shade under a tree. Lamp and shade check 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, dim one light or turn your screen brightness down by one step. Then name aloud or in your mind softer. If changing light is possible now, simply lower your gaze for 2 breaths. You can stop anytime. Small changes count. Once safety gets a foothold, simplification becomes possible. Simplifying is not giving up. It's choosing fewer, truer moves. Think of your day as a backpack. On a flare day, you repack with essentials only. Basic body care, one genuine connection, and one honest task that is tiny enough for tonight's reality. Everything else waits by the door for a better weather window. Flare day triage card, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, mentally sort your tasks into 3 piles. Must for body, could for life can wait. Must for body might be water, food, medication, warmth, rest, a call for help. Pick one and do it gently. Then stop. If energy remains, choose one could for life that is very small. You can pause anytime. This is simplification as a form of care. A parable comes to mind that lives quietly in many hearts. A farmer's horse runs away. Neighbors say, "Such bad luck." The farmer replies, "Maybe." The next day the horse returns with 2 wild horses. "Such good luck," the neighbors say. "Maybe," the farmer answers. Later, the farmer's son breaks his leg while trying to ride one of the new horses. "Bad luck," the neighbors say. "Maybe," he replies. Soon after, soldiers come to the village to draft young men. The son is spared because of his injury. "Good luck," the neighbors say. "Maybe," the farmer says again. Whether or not this story ever happened, the lesson is simple. The meaning of an event evolves. A flare day can carry unexpected gifts, a slowed schedule that reveals what truly matters, a call for help that deepens connection, a reminder to practice gentleness you've wanted to embody. We are not forced to label the day as only good or only bad. We can live the day honestly and let its meaning ripen. Softening, the third move, is all about tone. On a flare day, your inner voice may sharpen. "Why again? I'm back at zero. Everyone else is moving forward." Softening answers with companionship rather than a counter-argument. "It sounds like I'm here. We'll take it hour by hour. Let's do one kind thing now." The body recognizes this tone as safety. Muscle tone shifts. Breath becomes easier. Digestion unknots. Sleep later is more likely to come. Companion voice rehearsal, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, say one sentence to yourself in the tone you'd offer a dear friend. Something like, "You're allowed to slow down," or "We'll choose one small step." Notice how your body responds. If words feel irritating, let the sentence go and keep the warm tone in silence. You can stop anytime. Let's make these moves practical with 3 common flare scenarios. Scenario 1. Pain spikes while you're doing a simple task. The mind leaps to, "This will ruin the rest of the day." Stabilize by pausing and contacting support under you. Simplify by choosing a smaller version of the task or postponing it. Soften by acknowledging effort without drama. "That was a lot. Thank you, body. We'll go gentler." Coin size focus, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, picture the pain as the size of a coin. Trace its edge with your attention instead of diving into the center. Then place your hand on a neutral area and alternate attention. Coin, hand, for 2 cycles. You can stop anytime. This prevents the global alarm from taking over. Scenario 2. A wave of fatigue hits at an inconvenient time. Stabilize with posture and breath. Simplify by shifting to a low-energy posture for a few minutes. Even sitting on the floor against a wall counts. Soften by offering a non-judgmental reason. My lantern is dim. I'll protect the flame instead of cursing the dark. 3-minute nest up to 180 seconds. If it feels right, create a micronest wherever you are. Back supported, knees slightly bent or feet planted, shoulders allowed to drop. Close your eyes or lower your gaze. Let the breath be ordinary. If you can't stop for 3 minutes, take 3 slow breaths in this posture. You can pause anytime. Small doses of true rest often prevent bigger crashes later. Scenario 3. Anxiety begins to climb for no clear reason. Stabilize by orienting to the room with your senses. Simplify by pressing pause on information intake and decision-making. Soften with a sentence like, "Fear is here and I'm still safe enough." 1 room, 5 senses, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, name 1 thing you can see, 1 you can touch, 1 you can hear, 1 you can smell, and 1 you can taste or imagine tasting in any order. Let each sense be a door back into the present room. If a sense is unavailable, skip it. You can stop anytime. Orientation reminds the nervous system to update its map. Some days the flare is social, a misunderstanding, a comment that stings, a feeling of being unseen in your pace. Remember, you can listen to your body and still live among people who move differently. Boundaries and compassion can coexist. Boundaries protect your energy. Compassion protects your shared humanity. Gentle no, open heart, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, craft 1 sentence that says no without closing the door. For example, "I can't talk tonight. I care about this and will check in tomorrow." Say it to yourself once in a warm tone. You can pause anytime. Practicing the sentence reduces the spike of stress when you need to use it. Clear seeing from last night also applies. On setback days, avoid global conclusions. Instead of "I'm back at the beginning," try "Today is higher tide. I'll wade, not swim." Instead of "I'll never heal," try "This is a wave. I'll ride it with care." Instead of "Nobody understands," try "Some people don't get it. I can seek the ones who do." Precision shrinks suffering. It turns storms into weather reports you can act on. Because guilt often spikes during a flare, "I should be doing more. Others need me." We'll offer a small ritual of permission. Temporary permission slip, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, whisper to yourself, "For the next 2 hours I release extras. I will do body care, 1 small connection, 1 small task, and rest." If the window needs to be shorter, make it shorter. You can stop anytime. Time-limited permission soothes the parts of you afraid that rest will never end. Here's a gentler story from the early days of the Buddhist community. A monk became ill and lay in soiled robes because no one tended him. The Buddha and his attendant quietly washed him, changed his cloth, and then gathered the others. "Caring for the sick," he taught, "is caring for me." Whether or not the scene unfolded exactly so, take the spirit to heart. On flare days, be both the one cared for and the caring friend. Wash the part of you that feels neglected with small acts, a fresh pillowcase, a glass of water, a softer shirt, a gentle word. These are not luxuries, they are the practice. We'll knit setbacks into the rhythm we learned earlier, pendulum between effort and ease. On a flare day, the swing toward effort becomes shorter and the swing toward ease becomes longer. This isn't failure, it's intelligent adaptation. Pendulum shrink and soften, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose 1 tiny effort, 2 minutes of tidying, a stretch of fingers, a slow walk to the window, then deliberately double the ease that follows, 4 minutes resting posture, longer exhale, dimmer light. You can pause anytime. Over time, the pendulum will widen again naturally. Let's bring compassion to identity. Flare days often activate old labels. "I'm weak, I'm unreliable, I'm too much." Those labels were survival stories, not truth. Identity gets lighter when you describe behaviors rather than essence. Instead of "I am weak, try, I'm learning to stop when my body asks." Instead of "I am unreliable, try, I'm practicing honest limits so I can show up sustainably." These shifts aren't slogans, they're accurate descriptions of your brave choices. Name the choice kindly, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, think of one thing you didn't do today. Translate it into the kindness it protected. I didn't run that errand. I protected rest and avoided a crash. You can pause anytime. This loosens shame's grip. Because evenings can invite rumination about what a flare means. We'll create a simple container so thinking doesn't flood the house. 2-box journal, 60 seconds. If it feels right in your mind or on paper, draw 2 boxes. Label one observed, the other action. In observed, place 3 facts only, e.g., throat tight, energy low, canceled plan. In action, place 1 tiny supportive step, e.g., warm tea, text to reschedule, dim light. Close the notebook or the imaginary boxes. You can pause anytime. Facts and 1 step are enough. Stories can wait for clearer weather. Setbacks sometimes arrive with restlessness. Energy trapped and rattling, like a bird in a room. Meet restlessness with contained motion. Contained shake and settle, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right and safe, shake your hands gently for 5 seconds, then your arms, then let them fall into stillness. Roll your shoulders once. Sit or lie back and feel the echo. If shaking isn't available, imagine the movement vividly and then exhale with a soft sigh. You can stop anytime. Contained motion gives restlessness a channel. When sleep meets a flare, kindness matters more than success. If you can't sleep, you can still rest. If the mind chatters, turn down the volume by returning to sensation. The body loves simple loops. Counting touches, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, count 5 places where your body touches support: head, shoulders, back, hips, feet. Name each once. Then start again, stopping whenever you like. If numbers agitate you, drop them and simply notice the contact. You can pause anytime. Rest is legitimate even without sleep. A word about hope. On flare days, hope can feel like a fragile creature you don't want to scare. Let hope be modest and local. Not everything will be fine, but this breath and the next, this hour and its kindness. Hope grows stronger when it is attached to actions you can actually take. Drinking water you can taste, dimming a light you can reach, asking for help you can send in a single sentence. Local hope is loyal, it will stay. Because we learn through story. A small image from the world of crafts. Japanese kintsugi repairs broken pottery with lacquer dusted in gold, honoring the fracture as part of the object's history. We don't need to romanticize pain, but we can let care be the gold that lines the cracks a flare exposes, the routines that failed, the boundaries that need strengthening, the friendships that deepen when you're honest. The bowl is still a bowl, and perhaps even more beloved for the way it has been tended. Before we close, return to stabilize, simplify, and soften one more time. Stabilize with 1 breath you actually feel at the rim of the nostrils. Simplify with 1 decision to do less, 1 plan moved, 1 task halved. Soften with 1 warm sentence that doesn't argue with the facts. This is hard. I'm with you. Evening anchor trio, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, place a hand where comfort is easiest to find, maybe over the heart, or on the belly, or around your upper arm. Say softly, "Here." Next, look at a single steady object in the room and say, "Now." Finally, let your shoulders drop by 5% and say, "Enough for tonight." If words don't feel kind, let the movement speak alone. You can pause anytime. 3 anchors, like 3 stones in a pocket, to touch when weather turns. Let your jaw loosen at the hinges. Let your forehead smooth. Feel the faithful surface under you. Know that flare days will happen again, and that does not diminish you. Your practice is not to prevent all storms. It is to become a gentle, competent sailor in changing seas, trimming the sail when the wind rises, dropping anchor when the harbor is near, asking for a tow when it's wise. The body listens to this competence. It trusts you more each time you choose stabilizing contact over panic, simplifying reality over fantasy, and softening tone over harsh demands. If you'd like, offer one blessing inward, brief and true. May I be steady when waves come. May I rest without shame. May I keep the lamp of clarity lit enough to see the next kind step. If blessing language doesn't sit well, think of it as a quiet wish. The nervous system does not care what you call it. It cares about the warmth in your voice. As the room grows quieter, let your exhale become a little emptier at the end and then watch it refill without effort. Sleep may come. Wakefulness may remain. Both are acceptable houses for healing when you hold them with care. You have practiced a humane way to meet hard moments. That practice, repeated in small ways, becomes the body's new memory. Tomorrow we'll step into renewal, how to recognize when more energy returns without rushing, how to expand gently without triggering the inner whip, and how to let curiosity lead you back into life, one bright, manageable step at a time. For now, let the night keep you. You listened. You adapted. You stayed kind. That is the work, and you did it. Let the atmosphere tonight feel like a quiet porch after rain. The air is clean, edges are softened, and the world seems to breathe a little slower. Notice the cool touch on your cheeks or the steady warmth along your forearms where fabric rests. If there's a glass of water beside you, feel how the condensation beads and slides. Let your eyes settle on one calm shape in the room. Your breath doesn't need a job. It can simply happen while you listen. We've walked through storms and learned how to steady yourself. Now we meet renewal, the return of a little more light, and we learn to widen without breaking pace. When energy begins to rise, craving often sprints in and shouts faster, more, finally. Aversion side-eyes the joy and warns, don't trust this, it will disappear. Confusion scatters your attention into 20 enthusiastic plans. Tonight we practice the middle way of expansion, small openers, clear feedback, and gentle celebration. We'll reframe the 3 traps so they become guides rather than thieves. Begin with a simple check. You are not required to perform your recovery to anyone. You don't owe proof. Renewal is yours to feel from the inside, like sunlight moving across your own floorboards. If you notice more appetite, more curiosity, more willingness to reach, wonderful. We will guard that goodness with wise pacing so it can last. Try an opening practice to greet this returning light. 5% more 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose one movement you're already doing, turning your head, lifting an arm, flexing toes, and add just 5% more range or ease. Notice the body's response. If anything protests, retreat 5%. You can stop anytime. The point is to sample expansion without triggering the inner whip. Craving wants to skip sampling and order a feast. It promises a straight road from today's spark to tomorrow's perfection. Instead of arguing with craving, we'll redirect it. Craving is energy. We give it a new job, devotion to consistency. Your growing light will be spent in regular, small ways that build trust with the body rather than in occasional heroic bursts that end in crashes. This is not less ambitious, it's more loyal. To anchor that loyalty, choose a tiny habit that honors renewal. Keep the tune tiny, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, pick one action you'll repeat for 7 days only. A 2-minute stretch at mid-morning, a short step outside after lunch, 3 deliberate slow sips with dinner. Name it out loud or in your mind. Commit to the size, not the spectacle. You can pause or shrink it any time. The win is repeating, not impressing. Aversion will raise an eyebrow at this joy. It may warn you about disappointment, as if staying small protects you. We will thank aversion for trying to shield the heart and invite it to sit beside us while we enjoy a little sweetness anyway. Joy is not a betrayal of pain. It is proof of life returning. You can let joy be modest and physical, warmth, light, laughter that doesn't need to be loud. Joy dose 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind or find one small delight in the room, a color, a texture, a plant leaf, a sound that soothes. Stay with it for 2 slow breaths. If it feels silly or flat, that's okay. Simply let your eyes soften. You can stop anytime. Tiny doses train the nervous system to receive good safely. Confusion tends to scatter attention when energy returns. There are many options and your mind wants them all. Clear seeing turns the scatter into a map. You don't need the next year. You need the next step that matches your real body tonight. When you choose one path, you are not rejecting the others forever. You are scheduling them for a kinder moment. One arrow, one target, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, list 3 things you're excited to do soon. Then choose one for tomorrow and shrink it to a humane size, 5 minutes or one tiny piece. Put the other 2 in a later drawer in your mind. You can stop anytime. Excitement becomes fuel when it's channeled. There is a teaching story known as the poisoned arrow, often retold in different ways. A man struck by an arrow refuses the doctor's care until he knows who shot it, from what caste, with what wood, and why. He demands answers while the poison spreads. The gentle lesson is this: we can seek understanding, but first we treat the wound. In renewal, the arrow flips shapes. You might be tempted to demand guarantees. Will this energy last? How do I prevent all future flares? Will people finally understand me? Let's remove the arrow of overanalysis by tending the living moment first. Sleep, water, light, one true step. Explanations can come later. Life grows in the soil of acted care, not in the air of imagined certainty. As renewal arrives, relationships often need updating. You may feel more available and want to reconnect. Listening asks you to do this gradually, not out of guilt or the fear of missing out. Instead of saying yes to a whole gathering, say yes to a short window. Instead of promising weekly help, offer one specific act and reassess. You are not a storm surging the banks. You are a river widening in season. Boundary with blessing, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, craft one sentence that both welcomes connection and honors pace. For example, I'd love to see you for a half hour, then I'm resting. Or I can help with one errand this week. Let's pick the most important. Say it in your mind with a warm tone and feel your body's response. You can stop anytime. Boundaries paired with warmth keep relationships alive and your energy safe. Bring this same kindness into work and projects. The itch to catch up can make a clean desk look like redemption, but catching up is a mirage. The river of tasks keeps flowing. Renewal means you choose a stone to stand on and do something real there. Then you step to the next stone tomorrow. Stone to stone start, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, open or imagine one task. Do the first inch, title a document, wash one pan, send one honest reply. Then stop deliberately and breathe once. Ask the body, is there room for one more stone? You can stop anytime. Progress measured in stones is more stable than progress measured in sprints. Because the nervous system memorizes both harm and help, we'll train it to link expansion with safety signals. That way, doing more does not equal bracing. Doing more equals supported aliveness. Anchor and act pairing, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one anchor, hand on chest, soft gaze, relaxed jaw, and pair it with a small action, standing, tidying a corner, walking to the window. Keep the anchor on while you act, then release both together. You can stop anytime. Pairing teaches the body that movement and calm can coexist. Let's visit ordinary scenes that brighten during renewal. In the kitchen, you may feel like cooking something a touch more involved. Keep devotion to consistency by using a single pan rule or setting a gentle timer. Let taste be a teacher. If you feel your jaw tightening with urgency, step back, sip water, then continue. Renewal loves flavor that arrives slowly, like simmered soup rather than flash-fried chaos. On a walk, curiosity can make the feet bounce faster than your joints agree with. Practice walking like a photographer of small things rather than a runner of distances. Pause to look at texture, bark, brick, shadow, cloud edges. The body often enjoys attention more than pace. On screens, energy may try to check all messages, all feeds. Choose one intentional window, close with a kind line to yourself. I did enough here. The real world is returning and it wants your senses back. Here is a micro practice for widening attention without flooding it. Soft focus field 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, keep your head still and let your eyes notice the edges of your visual field, the way the room extends left and right. Then invite your hearing to include far and near at once. Finally, feel the contact under you. If anything feels too much, narrow back to one sense. You can stop anytime. Soft focus makes space for more life without overwhelming you. Craving, aversion, and confusion will keep visiting, so let's rewrite their job descriptions for this season. Craving becomes curator. It chooses which small joys to keep in the museum of your day. Aversion becomes guard. It protects your limits with a polite, steady no. Confusion becomes scout. It notices options, then returns to report so the wise part of you can choose one. When these roles are agreed upon, the inner committee stops shouting and starts working. Curator guard scout check 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, ask, what joy do I keep today? What limit do I guard? What option do I scout? Answer each in a single simple phrase. You can pause anytime. Roles give your energy structure without rigidity. A small story for courage. A gardener once wanted to coax a patch of earth back to life. They watered lightly every day and pulled a few weeds, resisting the urge to till everything at once. Weeks later, tiny shoots appeared. A friend said, "Isn't that too slow?" The gardener smiled, "I'm growing roots before flowers." Renewal is roots first. You may not see fireworks. You'll feel steadier footing. That matters more. When energy returns, sleep can change too. Some nights, the mind crackles with possibility. Instead of wrestling it flat, offer it a brief, contained space to play, then gently close the door. Idea box at night 60 seconds. If it feels right, keep a tiny notebook or mental page by the bed. If ideas arrive, write or name one line only, then close the book or the thought with a soft later. If writing wakes you up, imagine placing the idea in a drawer you'll open tomorrow. You can stop anytime. Containment prevents excitement from turning into agitation. As your radius widens, you may notice old identities wanting to strap back on: the helper who never rests, the perfectionist who sees every smudge, the entertainer who keeps spirits high. We will honor those parts without letting them drive. You can offer them new roles. Helper becomes truth-teller about limits. Perfectionist becomes editor who stops at good enough. Entertainer becomes bringer of small delight at humane intervals. Identity lightening begins here. Good enough stamp 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right when you complete a small task, place an imaginary stamp on it that says good enough for today. Feel what shifts in your body when you choose sufficiency. If it feels wrong, soften the edges. Good enough for this hour. You can stop anytime. Sufficiency is a pathway to sustainability. Renewal is not only about more doing, it is about deeper savoring. One bite eaten with presence nourishes more than 3 eaten in a hurry. One conversation held with your whole attention fulfills more than an evening of half listening. Let the value of presence ride the rising energy so abundance doesn't become scattering. One bite, one breath, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right during any snack or sip, pause for one breath before the first taste and one breath after you swallow. Notice temperature, texture, and the body's yes or no. If it's inconvenient, simply imagine the pause. You can stop anytime. Savoring converts time into nourishment. Sometimes renewal brings a blush of grief for what was missed during harder months. Let that grief be part of the opening. It doesn't cancel your joy, it seasons it. The heart can hold both, glad to be here, sad about what was lost. You don't need to tidy that up. You can let those flavors mingle like sweet and bitter in dark chocolate. If others misunderstand your gradual pace, you can teach gently without arguing. You might say, "I'm rebuilding by layers, small steps help me last." Or, "I'm expanding with care so I don't crash." Teach by example more than by essay. Show them your devotion to consistency. Let outcomes speak over time. Because expansion can tempt you into comparison, notice when you look sideways. The nervous system rarely benefits from keeping score. Return to your lane, your timing, your body, yes and not yet. Your path is not late, it is yours and you're walking it. When planning the next few days, consider a renewal budget that leaves margin. Margin is not laziness. It is the carbon in steel, the give in fabric. Without it, things snap. Margin math, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right when you schedule 3 things, remove or shrink 1. Keep that space unassigned on purpose. If removing isn't possible, add a 5-minute buffer after each. You can stop anytime. Margin protects the gains you're making. And here's a tender, practical ritual for welcoming more life, without abandoning the quiet that helped you heal. Thank the quiet, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, place a hand on the part of you that learned to rest, chest or belly, and whisper thanks for keeping you company in the slow times. Promise to keep visiting even when the calendar fills. You can stop anytime. Gratitude to the quiet keeps it as a friend rather than a place you only go when forced. Let the room widen in your awareness now. Feel its depth, the way the walls hold the air, the way your body is held by what you're resting on. If your eyes want to close, let them. If wakefulness is present, keep your gaze soft and unfocused. Offer a blessing fit for expansion. May my light return at a humane pace. May I grow roots before flowers. May I spend energy as devotion, not display. Before we close, revisit the 3 reframes one last time. Craving becomes devotion to consistency. Aversion becomes a guard for humane limits. Confusion becomes a scout who reports back. Let these roles settle into the background like a steady team that helps you widen without wobbling. To seal the evening, pair a tiny action with rest. Expand and exhale 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, stretch your fingers wide once, then let them curl softly. Point and flex your feet once, then let them settle. Turn your head slowly to the left and right, then center. Finish with a longer, easy exhale. You can stop anytime. A small opener followed by softness tells your body that more life can arrive safely. Tomorrow will turn directly toward compassion and identity. How to carry yourself with warmth when shame tries to return. How to hold who you are more lightly without losing what you love. And how to let kindness become the gravity that keeps all these practices in orbit. For now, rest in the simple miracle that you're still here, listening, opening in a way that lasts. Let the house make its nighttime music. Maybe the floorboards give a tiny sigh as the air cools, or the pipes murmur once and go quiet. There's a pool of gentle light somewhere, a bedside lamp, the glow from a hallway, enough to paint soft edges on the room. Notice how your body responds to edges that aren't sharp. Feel the loose weight of your ankles, the simple architecture of your spine finding support. Let your breath behave like someone turning pages slowly. One page, then another. No rush to arrive at the end. Tonight we lean into compassion and the art of holding identity lightly. These are twins that help the nervous system heal. Compassion is warmth without performance, the willingness to be on your own side and on the side of other beings. Identity lightening is the skill of loosening the labels that squeeze you so tight you can't breathe. Together, they let you live with more ease, kinder to yourself, more available to what matters, less tangled in stories about who you must be. Begin by noticing that the body understands compassion as contact, tone, and pace. It doesn't need perfect words, it needs signals. A hand that rests, not grabs. A voice that softens, not scolds. A pace that lets sensations be felt without being chased. If it feels right, let one hand rest on your chest or upper arm. Sense the temperature through fabric or skin. This is not symbolic. It is literal nervous system medicine, letting your tissues know there is a friendly presence here. Many of us learn to doubt compassion, to call it indulgence or weakness. But look closely. When you're met with warmth, your breath unclenches, your jaw eases, choices become wiser because panic isn't driving. Compassion reduces what the teachings sometimes call the three fires: craving, aversion, confusion, not by force but by quenching. Craving calms when it feels cared for. Aversion loosens when it is not shamed. Confusion clears when fear is soothed. Try a small practice to let the body taste this directly. Warm tone, few words, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose one short sentence and say it inside with a kind voice. I'm here with you. Or easy now. Or this is hard and I'm staying. Keep the sentence brief. Watch for a 2% change: jaw, shoulders, belly, breath. If nothing shifts, that's fine, the tone still lands. You can pause anytime. Identity lightening begins with language. The mind loves to carve stone tablets of I am broken, I am behind, I am the strong one, I am the one who never needs help. These names harden around real pain and real gifts, then trap you there. Tonight we'll practice switching from I am to there is and I notice. There is tightness in the chest. I notice a wish to say yes when I mean no. This is not evasion, it is accuracy. It allows movement. When pain is something you're with rather than something you are, the body doesn't brace as hard. From I am to I notice, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, pick one identity sentence that shows up under stress. Turn it into a noticing sentence. I am failing becomes I notice fear and low energy. I did one true thing today. Say it once in your mind and sense how your chest and face respond. If it feels wrong, choose a gentler version. You can pause anytime. Compassion is not permission to abandon values. It is the climate in which values can grow. Without warmth, even honesty turns into a weapon. With warmth, honesty becomes medicine. Think of a plant on a windowsill. Water and sunlight don't make it weak. They make it possible for the plant to do what plants do: turn light into life. Your warmth lets you turn experience into wisdom. Because stories teach, here's one told in many ways. A man named Angulimala was feared for his violence. In some tellings, he chased the Buddha, who walked steadily ahead. No matter how he ran, he couldn't catch up. Breathless, he shouted for the Buddha to stop. The reply came gently: I have stopped from harm, you stopped too. Something in those words landed, not as humiliation but as possibility. The man set down his old name, learned to live differently, and the community learned to see him freshly. Whether or not the details are historical, the lesson gleams. Identity can be put down. Compassion from another can awaken compassion in you. The past is not a prison when the present includes genuine stopping. Your stopping can be simple. Stop scolding. Stop rushing. Stop calling yourself names that keep your nervous system in a fight. With each stop, recovery quickens because you're no longer spending energy on harm. Let's make stopping practical. 3 stops, 1 start, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, name 3 tiny harms you can stop for the next day, for example, checking messages in bed, clenching the jaw during chores, apologizing for resting. Then name 1 kind start: a glass of water on waking, a hand on heart before sleep, a brief step outside at midday. Keep them small to keep them real. You can pause anytime. Stopping harm is compassion in motion. Compassion includes boundaries. A warm no is not an absence of love, it's a form of care. When your body is healing, every yes you give needs a partner, the condition that keeps you well enough to show up tomorrow. Because guilt can spike here, pair your no with a blessing. No with blessing: 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, craft a sentence that declines and cares. I can't do tonight. May your evening go smoothly. Let's speak tomorrow. Say it once in a tone that feels like sunlight through a curtain. If your body tightens, soften 2 words until the tension drops. You can pause anytime. Shame often tries to interrupt compassion. It says you should be further along, tougher, more grateful, less needy. Shame's favorite posture is head down, breath tight, heat in the face. Meet it with temperature and posture, not argument. Cool face, open throat, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, lightly touch your cheeks with cool fingers or imagine a breeze across your face. Lengthen the back of your neck and let the front of your throat feel unguarded for 2 soft breaths. If you prefer, place a hand on the upper chest instead. You can pause anytime. This interrupts the physiology of shame so kinder thoughts can get a word in. Identity lightening invites you to try on names that are verbs, not statues. Instead of I am resilient, try I keep returning. Instead of I am compassionate, try I practice warmth. Verbs leave room for off days. Statues demand you never move. The body trusts verbs, they feel like breathing. Returners vow 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, whisper I return when you notice you've drifted during a worry, a flare, a loop of old self-talk, just those 2 words. Then feel 1 point of contact, like the weight of your heel. You can pause anytime. Returning is a kinder identity than perfecting. Because compassion grows through action, not opinion, we'll weave it into 3 ordinary places: the sink, the doorway, the bed. At the sink, run warm water over your wrists for a few seconds and call it care, not fuss. Let the temperature message your nervous system with simple kindness. At the doorway, before leaving a room, choose 1 soft phrase that travels with you. Go gently, kind steps, 1 thing at a time. Say it inside as your foot crosses the threshold. At the bed, don't audition for sleep. Greet the mattress like a friend. Feel how it rises to meet you. If sleep doesn't come, offer presence instead of threats. Compassion doesn't demand outcomes, it offers conditions. Let's add a micro practice that rewires the inner critic into a useful ally. Critic to coach, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, recall a sentence your critic uses. Rewrite it as guidance with warmth and a single next step. You're so lazy becomes you're tired. Take 3 minutes horizontal and do 1 small task after. Say the new line once in a low, steady tone. If resistance appears, shorten the step further. You can pause anytime. Guidance spends less energy than attack. Compassion radiates outward naturally when your cup has even a little water. But you don't have to flood the world to count. We'll send a small circle of goodwill without draining yourself. Circle of 3, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind 3 beings, yourself as you are, someone easy to love, someone neutral like a cashier or a neighbor. Offer each the same simple wish in turn. May you feel steadier, may you be cared for, may you rest. If a person is hard to picture, choose a tree or an animal. If wishing outward feels like too much, just include yourself. You can pause anytime. Shared compassion lightens identity because it reminds you that being human links you to a village. Craving, aversion, and confusion show up inside identity, too. Craving insists on a self that's always successful or always healed. It makes you sprint and crash. Aversion rejects the messy parts of you and tries to exile them. They come back louder. Confusion fogs your sense of who you are and what matters, spinning you through roles to please every voice. Compassion answers each. You are worthy when you're not impressive. No part of you is exiled. You can be one kind person among many, not everyone's solution. The body hears this and its vigilance drops. We'll do a brief practice for parts that carry old jobs: the pusher, the pleaser, the perfectionist, the avoider. You don't need to banish them. You can renegotiate. New job offer 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, pick one part by its nickname. Thank it for the job it did. Offer a new role that fits your season. Pusher, thank you for getting me through school. New job, whisper reminders to drink water and stop on time. Pleaser, thank you for keeping me connected. New job, help me choose sincere yesies only. Say the offer once and feel for a tiny ease in the jaw or shoulders. If there is none, that's okay. You've planted a seed. You can pause anytime. Here is a short story I love for loving kindness, paraphrased. A monk asked, "How do I hold loving kindness when people are difficult?" The teacher pointed to a candle. It gives light because that is its nature. It does not wait for perfect rooms. Loving kindness does not mean tolerating harm. It means you do not let your heart calcify. Your light can be small and still be light. On nights when compassion feels like a far word, find one tiny wick, a gentler breath, a softer pillow, a warm hand, and let it glow. That counts. Because evenings often stir comparison, we'll practice identity lightening with someone else in mind. 2 humans only, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, think of a person you've compared yourself to today. Mentally remove all titles and stories. Picture just 2 breathing bodies, each with a nervous system trying to be safe. Whisper, 2 humans, nothing to prove. Notice your breath. You can pause anytime. Equality eases the pressure to perform. Sometimes compassion means asking for help and letting it land. The old identity of "I carry it all" will resist. Offer that identity a rest. Let someone bring soup. Let someone drive. Let someone sit near you while you do something hard. Receiving without apology teaches your body that belonging isn't earned by overgiving. Receiving rehearsal, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine someone offering you a small kindness, a glass of water, a hand with a bag. Practice saying "thank you" that helps in your mind with a relaxed jaw. If your throat tightens, place a hand there and breathe softly. You can pause anytime. Rehearsal makes the real moment gentler. Because the heart can feel crowded, let's clear a bit of space with breath and posture. Room in the chest, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, on an easy inhale, imagine the ribcage widening sideways like a book opening. On the exhale, let the shoulders fall as if the covers settled closed. Nothing exaggerated. 2 or 3 cycles only. If images annoy, just feel the fabric moving against your skin. You can pause anytime. Room makes compassion easier to carry. Bring compassion to your future self. On nights like this, plant something small. Your tomorrow body will be grateful for: a glass of water by the sink, a simplified plan, a note with a kind tone. Your future self is not a stranger. They are you, arriving soon. You can be good company for them already. Hello tomorrow, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, form one sentence addressed to tomorrow you. I left you water and space. I'll meet you kindly. Or your own words. Feel the warmth that arrives when you speak forward instead of judging backward. You can pause anytime. Before we turn toward rest, I want to reframe the word forgiveness in a simple, secular way. Releasing your grip on extra punishment. Not forgetting, not condoning, not denying. just ending the overtime of suffering you add on top. Forgiveness applied inward sounds like, I won't keep criticizing myself for yesterday's limits. I will learn and choose kindly now. Forgiveness applied outward sounds like, I protect my boundaries and I won't let resentment spend my precious energy every hour. The body relaxes when punishments end. Release the overtime 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, name one thing you've been punishing yourself for. Decide on a tiny amnesty period, the next hour, the rest of tonight. During amnesty, replace criticism with one factual sentence and one kind action. You can pause anytime. See how your breath changes when the whip is set down. Let your senses widen for a moment. The room is here steady. Your body is here doing its ancient work of breathing and mending. Offer a final blessing that combines compassion and light identity. May I be a friend to myself. May I remember I am more than any moment. May I move as a verb, returning, listening, softening, again and again. If sleep is near, make a small nest by adjusting one thing, pillow, blanket, light, and let your eyes drift closed. If wakefulness is here, rest your gaze on the dim outline of the room and let the breath flow like low tide. Either way, you don't have to earn your own kindness tonight. You've already practiced it. Tomorrow, we'll close our journey with a quiet weaving, bringing breath, values, rhythm, clarity, compassion, and light identity into a single evening pathway you can repeat, a blessing for the days ahead, and a gentle farewell that feels like a door left ajar for your return. For now, settle into the good work you've done. You are learning to be your own safe place. The body hears it, believes it a little more each night, and heals in that faith. Settle into the kind of night that feels like a soft room inside a soft room. The air is easy. The pillow knows the shape of your cheek. Somewhere beyond the window there might be a hush of leaves or the distant roll of a train, but in here the soundscape is simple. Your breath, the small creak of fabric, the quiet pulse in your fingertips. Let your gaze be lazy or close your eyes if that feels kinder. Think of this hour not as a task but as a shoreline. You've walked a long way. You can let your feet be wet with calm. We have traveled together through a season of listening, beginning with the gentle doorway of breath and contact, meeting the three frictions of craving, aversion, and confusion, discovering rhythm, tending emotion, choosing by values, lighting the lamp of clear seeing, meeting setbacks with steadiness, and opening again with careful joy. Tonight we weave it into one living path you can walk whenever you want. No single step is required. Each is an invitation. Each can be skipped or replaced. The point is the feel of the path, humane, rhythmic, practical, and kind. Begin where all good paths begin, permission. Say inside softly, it's okay to rest now. The nervous system listens for tone more than grammar. If a different phrase fits better, I can slow down, safe enough for now, nothing urgent here, choose that. Notice what shifts by 2% when permission arrives. Jaw, shoulders, belly, maybe nothing obvious. That counts too. Seeds resting under soil haven't failed, they're just doing their quiet work. Let your breath become your lantern again. Not deeper, just noticed. Feel the coolness at the rim of the nostrils, the warmer air on the way out. Imagine each exhale brushing dust from a shelf until the room of you feels breathable. If an old thought tries to sprint, will this last? Am I doing it right? Smile as if greeting a familiar neighbor. You don't need to chat tonight. A nod is enough. Returning to sensation is the soft gate that closes without slamming. Now give your body 3 small anchors. First, contact. Name 5 places where you meet support: head, shoulders, back, hips, heels. Second, temperature. Warm here, cooler there. Third, sound. Near sound, far sound, the quiet between. This is clear seeing in pajamas, ordinary and exact. Craving has less to grab when you stand in what's real. Aversion has less to fight when you don't exaggerate. Confusion grows bored when details are simple and kind. We'll thread in rhythm. The body loves pulses, a little effort, a little ease. Choose the smallest effort you can imagine right now. Wiggle toes, turn the head slowly left and right, circle wrists once, or imagine motion if stillness is kinder. Then give yourself double ease, 2 breaths of not doing, 2 breaths of feeling held. Sway between those friendly trees. You are making music the way a heart does, beat and space, movement and rest. The melody of recovery is written in those spaces. If an emotion rises, a lonely ache, a small ember of anger, a wave of sadness that wants a hand, practice sensation first. Where is it? What is its texture? Does a slight change in position help? Place a hand where the feeling lives and another where there is calm. Let attention move back and forth like a cup pouring warm water into cool water and cool into warm. When stories try to thicken, recall the second arrow. You can feel what is here without striking yourself again with meanings that make the night heavy. The night will hold you without needing a biography. Let values come sit by the lamp. Choose one value you want to sleep beside and wake with: kindness, steadiness, honesty, gentleness, courage, curiosity. Pick a tiny way it lives in the next 12 hours. Kindness might be the water you set by the bed. Steadiness might be the decision to stop scrolling after this minute. Honesty might be an email you send tomorrow morning that's short and clear. Keep it small enough that your body nods yes without bracing. When values are carried like feathers, not anvils, they ride the breeze of your days. If you like parables, hold this one close as a comfort when fear or confusion flicker. A traveler at dusk thought she saw a snake coiled on the path and her body flooded with alarm. She froze, heart loud, muscles tight. Another traveler came with a small lantern. The coil was a rope. The fear had been real. The snake had been a story. The first traveler laughed with relief and felt anger at herself for the mistake. The second simply lifted the rope and set it aside so they could continue. We will be both travelers, startled and steady, afraid and clear. The teaching isn't to never fear, it's to bring a lamp. Tonight your lamp is contact, breath, and kindness. If you find a snake made of rope in your mind, no punishment is needed. Lift and set aside. Walk on. Here is a simple evening pathway you can keep, change, or rebuild as needed. Think of it as the soft choreography of your last 15 minutes. Begin by lowering the light by 1 notch and whispering your permission phrase. Then tend one body kindness that costs very little: water, warmth, or position. If you choose water, take a slow sip and follow its path for 2 heartbeats. If you choose warmth, tuck the blanket so the small of your back feels held. If you choose position, slide a pillow under your knees or between your legs, then wait for 1 breath to sense the difference. Next, make a 5-breath visit to your values. On the first breath, name the value. On the second, picture its tiniest expression tomorrow. On the third, soften your jaw. On the fourth, choose 1 sentence you'll speak in that tone. On the fifth, let the plan evaporate and keep the feeling. Plans are helpful, feelings are fuel. After that, honor 1 threshold. When you turn off the final light, pause with your fingers still on the switch or the button. Let your exhale lengthen by a hair and drop your shoulders by 5%. Say a small word you love: home, rest, peace. Enough not as a spell, but as a signal. Thresholds love signals. The nervous system loves predictability. If you can't sleep, you don't need to bully the body. Keep it company. Use a practice that builds no pressure. Try counting touches, naming the places you meet the bed, or soft focus field, seeing the edges of the room with a relaxed gaze, or the shelf of later, placing 1 worry on that sturdy ledge for tomorrow. If tears come, let them fall without commentary. Tears are the body washing dust from the eyes of the heart. If you wake in the night, meet the clock with kindness or ignore it entirely. A night wake-up is not a verdict on the morning. It is weather. Become a small monk in your own tiny temple. Adjust the covers, drink a sip if that helps, breathe 3 friendly breaths, return to noticing. If sleep doesn't return, rest is still legitimate. Your tissues mend during quiet companionship too. Because we are closing, I want to gather the three frictions one more time and give them the friendly jobs we discovered. When craving surges, let it become devotion to consistency. Not more now, but a tiny action repeated with love. When aversion stiffens, let it become the steady guard, a warm no that protects what matters. When confusion scatters, let it become the curious scout. It brings you options, then bows as you choose one. Each friction was trying to help in its own clumsy way. Listening retrains them. They become part of your team. Let's plant two small practices that you can carry beyond these nights. One for weather, one for meaning. For weather, the ever-changing state of body and mood, keep the first 5 reset. Hand where it's loud, hand where it's quiet, 2 facts, 1 sentence of permission. This can travel anywhere. Kitchen, couch, parked car, doctor's waiting room, standing by the window at 2 in the morning. You are telling your system, I see you. We will go slower. We will choose a humane inch next. For meaning, the deeper arc of your days, keep morning seed and evening harvest. In the morning, plant 1 seed value with a tiny expression. At night, harvest 1 moment where it appeared, even faintly. Let that be your measure, not productivity, not comparison, not the calendar's demands, just the thread you chose to hold, woven through ordinary acts. If shame or self-judgment tries to gate-crash the closing, we'll practice the simplest boundary. Put 1 palm out, as if stopping a friend from crossing a line on your floor, and say inside, not this tone, not tonight. Then bring the hand to your chest and say, this tone, this kindness. It may feel theatrical to the mind. The body understands immediately. Physical gesture plus warm voice translates into the language of safety. We can bless the people around you without losing yourself in them. Think of 1 person who could use ease. Offer them 3 words, no more steady, held, rested, and then let them go. You are not their savior. You are adding a small kindness to the air between you. That kindness will touch you too. If you want a moment of gratitude that doesn't demand fireworks, try this. Thank the quiet. Thank the lamp for not buzzing. Thank the blanket for being enough. Thank the part of you that showed up here across nights. Deliberate, specific gratitude is a muscle that oxygenates hope without pretending life is easier than it is. Hope in this practice is local. This breath, this hour, this humane plan. We have spoken of the Buddha and of monks and of stories that survived because their shapes are useful. We end with a small image of your own making. Picture the path you've been walking as a footpath through tall grass. The first time you took it, your shins brushed seed heads and you weren't sure it went anywhere at all. Now a faint line shows where you've returned. You will step off sometimes. You will circle back. Weather will lay new growth across it, but your feet remember. Each time you choose listening over force, kindness over criticism, accuracy over drama, you press the path a little clearer for the future you. Others may walk it too, perhaps without knowing who wore it first. That is a gift you give without needing to be named. Before we close, a few final micro-practices to leave in your pockets like smooth stones. If your mind hooks on a thought and won't let go, use from I am to I notice. Translate identity into observation. Add 1 kind next step and stop there. If your body tightens with the weight of the day, use support triangle. Head, back, knees supported. 2 breaths of actual feeling. Adjust 1 thing, stop. If joy knocks quietly and asks to come in, say yes with joy dose. 2 breaths looking at something that pleases you. Let the nervous system learn pleasure without cost. If you must make a decision after dark, walk through the 3-breath gate. See if the action helps recovery tonight. If not, place it gently on the shelf of tomorrow. And if you forget everything, there is hand on heart check-in, the very first doorway we open together. A hand, a beat, a breath that doesn't need to be big. You here with you. Let your face soften. Feel the breadth of the room as if someone has opened a quiet window onto a quiet sky. If you want to, offer a final blessing in your own words or borrow these, and let them be simple and true. May I meet my body with listening instead of orders. May I practice the middle way between pushing and giving up. May I release what I don't need, accept what is here, and see clearly the next kind step. May I move by values I love, at a pace that protects love. May I be tender with limits and generous with rest. May I be a friendly place to be. If sleep is ready, follow it like a small boat following the curve of a river, guided by banks that know the way. If wakefulness remains, rest in the fact that you are already doing the practice by being here gently. Nothing is wasted. Every humane breath teaches the body that life keeps a light on for you. Tomorrow will come as days do. Let it find a glass of water waiting, a note to yourself with a warm tone, a plan small enough to keep. Let it find you as you are, not the statue of an identity but a living verb. Returning, listening, softening, choosing, resting, beginning again. Thank you for walking this path these nights. You've kept your own company with courage and care. Trust that the body heard you. Trust that change happens as softly as grass grows and sometimes as suddenly as rain. In both, you are allowed to be at ease. Close the final light if you wish. Feel the sweet weight of your limbs. Let the dark be friendly. The path remains even when you cannot see it. Your feet remember. Your breath remembers. Your kindness remembers. All you have to do is come back.